Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a magical Yuletide episode of Monster Party!
Monster Party! Oh, you're sounding very jolly.
I am jolly.
Oh, I'm feeling so jolly and
Lots
happy.
of
Yes.
naughty and nice boys around the table.
This is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be great.
This is fun.
I'm so
And
excited.
if you haven't caught on yet,
It's Monster Party!
and it's a Christmas theme, kind of.
Yes.
Christmas.
Very
Merry
Christmassy.
Christmas.
And for this Christmas episode, we have a great topic. But before I get to that,
Who are you, sir?
I am Matt Weinhold.
I am jolly SHAWN Sheridan.
Oh, well, I'm Happy Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James, the red-nosed reindeer.
Oh, man.
I need a second to just have that picture sit in my head for a second.
And
I want to believe.
we are feeling jolly. We are feeling happy because this is a happy special day.
That's right.
And it's a great topic.
We have
it's a super
yes,
fun topic.
awesome topic.
Yes.
Matt, what is our topic?
The topic is the Island of Wishlist Toys.
Island of Wishlist Toys. Island of Wishlist Toys. I wish this toy existed.
Yes,
Now,
dream toys.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are questioning. Well, what is there an
fuck is
island?
this?
Did they create it? They build an island and now they're floating on it and there are wishes on it.
And why did they not make a specific toy?
That's
are you
really
a moron?
what this is about.
Right.
It's like a gold mine.
So many toy ideas that we have that we had as kids.
Yeah.
We're big collectors. We've been collecting
We've
toys
been
all our lives.
buying crap forever.
Or even literally dreams. Like you dreamed that you found this toy in a shop,
Yes.
and then you wake up.
Yes.
Shit.
Oh, man. How many times have you tried to get something out of the dream?
Oh, yeah.
You ever have those ones where
Yeah.
you're like, I know I can get this out?
Every freaking night.
Yeah.
Although when I get it, it stays in the package.
Well,
That's true,
in
yes.
the package of your mind, yes. Because
but despite
if you get something through, you have to call us immediately.
Yes. But despite the fact that we have so much stuff, there are still things we don't have and wish we had.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't have a problem.
And speaking of things that we wish we had, Matt, who is our guest to help guide us
right.
through
Well-
this wish list?
We don't have to wish.
That's right. I mean, it's a Christmas miracle.
Oh my God! Our guest is a return friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Oh my God! This man was an editor on Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine.
He was the editor of
He
Famous
was the-
Monsters magazine.
he,
the
uh,
best editor.
Oh, my
He's the
favorite.
be-
Certainly our
yes.
favorite. Yes. And a writer, a producer, a director. This man hits all the bases. Ladies and gentlemen, our good pal, David Weiner.
David Weiner!
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Happy
Wow, that's a
holiday.
lot of happy.
Yeah, happy holidays, sir.
happy.
Yes. Happy holidays. Got my eggnog. Thank you so much for being with us.
Sued by ASCAP.
Now, I just want to say one thing, David. Now,
Yes.
in addition to all these great things that you do have a great blog,
Yes.
and
Thank
which is
you.
called
It Came From. It's called It Came From, and you can find it at It Came From blog.
And the thing I love about it is you mention toys a lot.
Yeah.
And which I follow you, and I always respond sometimes with an angry thing or something, or I say, or it's like you'll post something, hey, remember this? And I'll go, yes, I have this, or something like that.
Does this show actually break the restraining order that you have with Larry?
Well, that's the joy of the internet, is that you don't actually have to share the same room.
there you go.
And that's also why I'm at the opposite end of the table of Larry.
Yes, that's not an accident.
But I love the stuff that you post.
Well, thank you. And yeah, usually you're the first person to say whether you have it or not mint in the package.
No, there's an alarm that goes off in his home.
Look, not everything.
Actually, I get
have
mobile alerts if Larry posts with the keywords mint in package.
Yeah. David suggested a drinking game. Every time you said mint and package, and I responded, I've never been that drunk.
No, but I would. See, that would be bad.
Right, no,
That'd
it'd be bad
be
for all of
horrible.
us.
Yeah, and you don't want a drunken Larry like.
Sometimes I do.
No, you don't. But
I enjoy a drunken Larry.
but let's get to this.
Let's get to it,
Island
yes.
of Wishlist Toys.
Now, I guess because we have our guest here,
Yeah.
we should let our guest kick this thing off. Is there a dream toy, something that you wished was made or you hope will be made?
Well, we live in a world now where so much is actually made by people who wish they were made when they were kids.
That's
Yes.
true.
And
Very much
I
so.
thought,
Yes.
I thought you were going to say people who wish they had a decent paycheck that weren't living in Bangladesh.
Yes, well, I actually live a lot of my life on eBay, where I try not to buy back my entire childhood because
Right,
it
yeah.
would just put me
totally.
on the street. But I definitely troll eBay looking for things that I wish that I had. But for things that didn't exist, I think we could actually start out with, at least in my mind, with Kenner action figures. I was a Mego kid growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I was-
All of
I
us.
had Planet of the Apes, I had
Love those,
superheroes, I had the Star Trek line, and then Star Wars came out, and all
Not
of a sudden
familiar.
there was not
78.
Yeah. There wasn't any parity. There wasn't action figure parity. There was different sizes. All of a sudden, you had 3 3/4 figures that you could not. Hey, if you wanted to hang out in the cantina and you wanted like a Star Trek figure to come in, he was a giant. You couldn't do it.
Right.
You couldn't do it. And
that's
all of a sudden,
interesting.
I was thinking, what if I want all these guys to hang out and have a drink at the cantina? You can't do it.
You want to do your own crossover
That's right.
universe.
I mean, I tried it with my Starsky and Hutch Mego figures, and it didn't work. I mean, so
They
ultimately,
didn't get along. Or
yeah, well, those two didn't get along.
Huggy Bear
Don't
came
give
in
up
and
on
just
us,
screwed things
baby.
up.
But so I'll give you. I mean, there's multiple things in terms of things that I loved. Like I loved Space 1999.
Oh, yeah.
And I already wished that those figures were like the Mego figures at the time.
Yeah, those were off
because
too.
they didn't have the articulation.
no, they were Kenner, I think, right? And they were.
weren't
you're
they
right,
like-
They were
very-
Mattel, and they
Mattel,
only had 5 points of articulation, so they
Yeah.
didn't have bendy knees or arms.
they're like
or
dolls.
wrists like Mego did.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and they
so-
were like an inch higher, weren't they?
yeah, and they
little bit,
just
yeah.
they looked smug. They just didn't,
yeah.
No, but the
yeah.
detail
and like
on
the show,
faces,
they
the
looked like
Good, great
like they
detail.
were-
right?
detail on the faces. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, the
Not
detail on
bad,
the faces
yeah.
is
The
really
Martin
good.
Landau
I
is
thought-
spot on.
Yeah.
They're all good, I
Yeah.
think.
But if I
think
wanted,
you're right.
but if I wanted to put Commander Koenig in the Enterprise and I wanted to sit him down in that Mego Enterprise playset,
That's true.
he just sat there with his feet up, you know.
Right.
And so that was probably the first time that I ever started wishing that these, I called them dolls at the time. So if I call them dolls during this podcast, please don't get angry because they were dolls before they were actually
That's true.
action figures.
That's true. I think it was G.I. Joe that first coined the action
Yeah.
figure phrase.
Yeah.
The G.I. Joe, like of the 70s, when they
Yeah.
became Adventure Team.
It's actually
Right.
earlier than that.
I think
sir.
they started to say, like, we're going to,
I never called them dolls.
we're going to merchandise these towards boys. Let's call them action
I called them dolls, but then Action Jackson corrected me.
Yeah.
No, in my school, you'd get killed if you called them dolls. Yeah.
Right.
But to go down that rabbit hole, I mean, with whether it's Space 1999 or like I always thought, wow, Logan's Run. Where's my Logan's Run?
That's on my list.
action
On my
figure?
list too.
And so going to all of this, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if you could have Flash Gordon?
yes.
Logan's Run, but they would all be 3 3/4 sizes, so they could all have interchangeable ships,
Okay, right.
and play sets to play in, and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
and I will just add to that what is really great, where I'm saying nowadays you actually have a lot of these things by people who wish they had them when they were kids.
True.
I'm going to name 2 gentlemen who I know who have probably influenced all of you in terms of your collectibles. One is Jason Lindsay, who's the co-founder of
I love Jason.
Biff Bang Pow.
Yeah.
He loved Flash Gordon so much that he decided, well, if no one's going to make an action figure line, I'm going to do it. So
We got to get him on the show.
He's a good guy, and
Yeah.
I might be able to.
No,
nudge him
I
in
know
your
him,
direction.
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Cool.
Then
Yeah,
you
no,
might be
he's-
able to nudge him. And why
yeah,
haven't
he's a super guy.
And then the other one is something that is obviously very, very familiar to everybody, and that's the company's called Super 7, and the guy Brian
yeah.
Flynn
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Super 7 everybody knows the reaction action figure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that whether you love them or hate them or love some and hate some,
Right.
they are really filling the void of all those action
They
figures
are.
that you wish that they had.
Absolutely.
Now,
And
at a
just-
decent price too. Like they're
yeah.
affordable.
And just to that point, for some people, and I won't go ad nauseum into this, but the origin of that story is the Alien action figures by Kenner that never got made.
Right.
Because Kenner was going to make 3 3/4 action figures. They were so excited by Star Wars and so encouraged by that, they said, we are going to make a whole new line of a whole new franchise that takes place in space with space monsters and spaceships. And then they realized what they really had on their hands, and they abandoned the project. But that wasn't after. They still, up until that point, had done the R&D and created molds for a variety of characters, including Ripley and Dallas, and they made the Alien action figure molds and prototypes, but they never made them. And so, without going into a whole story about Super 7, what I really admired and thought was wonderful was Brian Flynn did what we all wished had happened. He got the action figures we wish we had for Alien.
Right.
And
right.
are those action figures from those molds?
Yes.
Wow.
Why
That's
didn't Kenner
awesome.
make them? Was it because of the controversy of an R-rated movie?
It is.
Yeah, that
because
large figure, right? was
they did.
pulled
They
off
made the
shelves.
large figure, and
The
I remember
18-inch.
the 18-inch, which
I still have, but not in the box. Do you?
I do. Of
course he does.
Actually, I have two. One
Yes,
is
too.
one is the one that I actually got in '79, and that I have the box, and the alien is out of the box, and then I have a second one where the alien is mint in the box and the poster's still there. But I did want to add to your thing. Yes, they came out with the large alien first, and I remember seeing it in Toys R Us, and I was so excited, and I got it. And it just so happened that the day that I got it, there was a news story on the news that said that parents were complaining to Toys R Us management and said, "What the hell is this scary toy doing in
God,
Toys R Us?"
I hate
And
parents.
that's when the Breaking
so
Bad
hate
figures were kicked out of Toys R Us.
Well, here's the
Ruin-
thing. See,
parents ruin everything.
Listen, look. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, this is where everyone jumps on the bandwagon here. But let me point out that at that time in 1979, yes, this was a rated R movie. And so, if you are a parent, you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, it's a rated R
Well, yeah,
creature."
Things
So,
were
I mean,
different back then too.
yeah,
it just didn't have such graphic.
Yeah,
violence.
exactly. And there's a lot of bloody graphic stuff that happens in the movie. So I understand the uproar. And of course, Toys R Us being this huge corporation, they don't want to piss off parents. Parents are the ones that come to your store to buy stuff. So that was, yes, there was the controversy about that, and I believe that's what killed the figures.
Yes.
And I just wanted to touch base. You mentioned the reaction figures. For people who don't know, for listeners who don't know, the Star Wars figures are those standard 3 3/4
yeah.
inches. And so the reaction, they follow that pattern. They're in the
Right,
same
right.
kind of size. And they're done in the same kind of the card and the bubble pack is similar to the early Star Wars things. They're trying to capitalize on
it's
what
kinda like a
we
retro
remember
kind
as
of
kids.
feel.
Right,
Yeah,
retro.
if you look at the reaction logo, it's a reworking of the Kenner logo. It's the
Right.
same font.
Oh, right.
But here's my thing with those figures, which is, as an art piece, I enjoy them because I understand what they're doing and it's cool. But frankly, and I've said this before, I thought that those initial Star Wars figures were junk, were crap.
Yeah.
I thought they were shitty figures then,
Well,
and I think they're
yeah.
shitty figures now.
Compared to the Mego figures, I agree. I mean, the Mego figures
they
were
weren't-
beautifully done.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're not that well molded.
Okay.
They're
too small.
They're too small.
I could never get
He's
excited
entitled
about
to
that.
his opinion. I do respect that, and I understand that. But I also have to say, before Larry attacks you and rips you limb from limb, I didn't know any better, and I was happy to have anything. And I was also I was 9 years old at the time, so
But
that was
luckily-
better than Raggedy Ann.
Well, and luckily, when Star Wars came out, I love Star Wars, and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't like it that much to justify those shitty figures. What I liked about that line, that toy line, was everything else. All the ships,
Right.
all the play sets and all that. And the fact that you could take one of those figures and then put it in the ship. You didn't get to see too much of it once it's in the ship. So it's like, okay, now it's fine. But I just, and so when I see those reaction figures, I always feel like, well, this is great if you really don't want that great of an action figure.
Okay.
So you didn't buy half the action figures because you knew if they were in the ship, you could just pretend they were there.
Right, right. I draw
saved
a
a
picture.
lot of money.
I would cut a picture of Luke Skywalker out of a magazine and put him in. you know?
I just want to throw in my 2 cents here.
Of course you do.
you jump, you shit all over the Star Wars figures, and I want to point out: did you take a good look at the Hammerhead figure or the Snaggletooth figure? Did you take a
You
good
know what?
look,
Larry?
The aliens were kind
Larry,
of better.
I
right?
will give you that. I will give you that.
Okay.
I think the aliens were the best part of that series, and the droids.
And look, Matt, I'm going to say this to you, okay? You say shitty. They weren't shitty. They were great. But the funny thing is, you bring up an interesting point because there were some figures that
Someone's got to be the villain here. So
Why must it always be you?
No, I'm with Matt
my
on
story
this.
of my life.
I'm with Matt on this.
What?
I could not get excited about those figures. I never bought one.
yeah, I
You
never
didn't buy one?
I never bought one until like 20 years later.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, David! What are these?
I think men of a certain age were teens of a certain age
Yeah.
who were interested in other things. So I understand that.
Yeah,
Larry,
yeah,
I admit,
drugs.
Larry,
Yeah.
Larry, at the
I wasn't interested in
Mr.
drugs.
Cocaine has
I
spoken.
wasn't interested in drugs. When those figures came out, man, I was all over those figures.
So was I,
couldn't-
but I'll take the devil's advocate point of view, and I always looked at the Luke Skywalker action figure or doll, and I thought to myself,
That's a doll.
That's yellow. That's yellow hair. He doesn't look anything like
right.
that.
You know what?
Larry? When I got them, I remember this too. I never bought any of the human characters. The first Star Wars figure I ever bought, I think, was the R2D2.
Really?
Then the C-3PO, then I got the Jawa.
Yeah.
But I never got Luke and Leia and Han because they were kind of boring to me.
They all had.
Yeah, they look-
they all
You
bought
didn't get
monsters and the
Leia.
robots
You didn't get
and the
Leia. She
aliens.
was the little
and then
figure's
Obi-Wan
beautiful.
Kenobi.
He's beautiful. The
Obi-Wan-
little buns on her head. You
Obi-Wan-
didn't.
No, we know what she looks like. Obi-Wan Kenobi with
Yeah.
that crappy little vinyl cape.
It's a little action.
It's stupid.
Hey,
and the
okay,
reason
okay,
why they
no.
and the reason why they do that is because they were crappy little figures.
okay.
If they made them bigger, like
Okay.
David was saying,
No.
then they'd be cool because then it'd
No,
be like
no.
Migos size.
And nowadays,
okay,
of course,
everyone-
Well, they did have the 12-inch figures. Were you interested in any of those?
Yeah,
Like Darth
did-
Vader
Well,
or
I would say a
C-3PO?
little better. A little better. Still, the Luke figure, like all those figures, they still look shitty.
They didn't look shitty. And let me just say one thing to you, sir.
Just one?
Yeah, just one. You're crapping all over these Star Wars. There's some kids out there that love Star Wars so much, but they just don't have a lot of money to get a figure. Those figures, if you remember, were only
rich
when
or poor, that's all they got.
They were like $1.97, $1.97.
time,
Hey,
Larry,
I'm
at the
talking.
time.
I'm talking. You've had plenty of time to
don't think he
blah
has.
blah blah. Yes, he has. But the thing I loved about these figures is, when they first came out, the initial 12, there were 12. This is the set,
Yep.
okay? And they weren't that expensive. Now, the Migos and the G.I. Joes, they were more money, if I recall. And
Yeah,
that
they were
was
like
so
around
great.
like $4
yeah,
at the time,
and
right?
and still that's inexpensive. But for kids,
Sure.
I remember seeing like a Migo, a Planet of the Apes figure, and it might as well have been $1 million, even though it was like $4. I couldn't get that. But the Star Wars figures were in reach. You
This
could
is how
scrape
shitty
together.
the Star Wars figures were. They were so shitty that they sold you initially an empty box.
What do you mean?
The
an
early
empty?
bird kit. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
because-
That's not an empty box.
Whatever. They
Because
were
they weren't
selling
on
you
time.
something that wasn't
So-
even
so-
there.
so
You got a
Matt-
flyer.
So, Matt, what did you wish you had when it came to Star Wars stuff?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
You brought up Logan's Run, and Sean and I got very excited because
Yes.
that is a franchise that has been ignored.
Absolutely. And
By
the thing is-
everyone.
yes. But you guys know that there were prototype Mego figures. Mego was planning to put out figures of the TV series Logan's Run.
No, Sean, I didn't know that.
There were prototypes of Gregory Harrison and Heather Menzies and Donald Moffat as Rem the robot, and I believe they were just prototypes. So they were planning to put them out, but for whatever reason they didn't come
But
out.
why has nobody done it?
Can you imagine,
not
like, if
Hot
they did that
Toys.
movie?
Okay.
Not even like like
yeah.
can I like James? You got that Jack Nicholson, the shouting.
Yeah.
Uh,
shocking.
yeah, yeah.
the shocking. Sorry.
Yeah, take it for the shiny.
So you bought that, and someone made a kind of a bootleg figure, and people made bootleg like
it might be
Blade
an
Runner
elusive
figures, too.
license. Maybe it's an elusive license.
Yeah, 'cause you
I mean,
wouldn't
that's an MGM. That's an MGM property,
Right,
and
right.
whoever was responsible for that. I mean, Warner Brothers is in control of Logan's Run now, and I'm sure.
But even like bootleg stuff,
I'm going on a tangent where I don't quite know where I'm going, but because they well,
Don't let that stop you. This is Monster Party.
Hey, because they've been trying to make a remake of it or a
like
reboot for
decades.
decades and decades.
Yeah.
So they have the license for it. So if they want to
Yeah.
make a toy out of it, they can.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a head scratcher as to
Now,
why we
it
never
makes
got a
sense, though,
contemporary
yeah.
version of
Well,
it. But they probably think that it's only 5 of us who want it.
Well, see,
Right,
it's
true.
funny that David brings up a really good point. I have this great book, which I've discussed on other shows. It's called Toyland, the high-stakes game of the toy industry by Sidney Landerson Stern and Ted Schoenhaus. And this came out in 1990. And I read this book from cover to cover. And what these guys do is they basically, at that time, they went through, they did all the research, they interviewed all the big toy companies, all the big toy players. At that time, they interviewed the people at Kenner and the creation of the Star Wars characters, and also and the Dino Riders and a whole bunch of other toy lines at that time. But the main thing that they explained is when Sean says, why didn't they do these? It costs so much money to make these toys, and you have to think of it in kind of like have a global mindset. When you make these toys, you can't make thousands. You have to make hundreds of thousands and millions to make your money back. What they said in the book is a successful toy line has a run of 3 years. Barbie, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, these are 3 toy lines that break the mold. Okay,
Sure.
Everyone's trying to get that Barbie, G.I. Joe, or Star Wars, and now G.I. Joe. I mean, it's kind of had its time. It had a great run, even though they're still trying to do collectors things with G.I. Joe. Barbie's still around, but Star Wars. It is a powerhouse.
Well, Star Wars went away, and arguably the prequels were the excuse to bring the toy line back because it was a franchise that was dying. I don't want to entirely interrupt, but I want to add an addendum. Where I think you should, if you haven't seen it, there's a great documentary called Plastic Galaxy, and that talks about sort of the humble beginnings and the rise and fall of Kenner in relation to these, the Star Wars action figures, and that line ultimately went away through a series of interesting missteps, but it endures today. But as you know, Hasbro now owns the Star Wars line.
Yeah.
So,
But Logan's Run, though. Logan's Run, forget about at the time the movie came out, because I understand, Larry, what you're saying is that, yes, it's at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yes.
And everybody wants to see, their investment pay off. I get that. What I'm saying is now, we're now in the golden age of toys.
Where things are made for collectors, specifically
where
collector-centered.
everything is made.
Limited editions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm surprised.
And Logan's Run is not like a tiny, obscure movie. I mean,
Right,
there's
right.
a lot of Logan's Run fans still out there.
I want my remote control box figure.
We've talked.
I want that now.
badly.
Box is the robot character from the movie with Michael York and played by
I want the
Roscoe
theatrical
Brown.
movie character.
And we've
I
talked
want
about
a toy
this.
gun. I
We've
want a toy Sandman
We've
gun.
talked about this on another show. It would be such a
Carousel
cool toy.
playset.
But
I was thinking that.
and also
I want my toy Jenny Agutter.
a
Yes.
Jenny Agutter,
I
a
want the
Michael
real
York.
Jenny Agutter.
I mean, it would be so incredibly cool.
I know a place.
Not the blow-up doll I currently have.
Like a 5'2" Jenny Agutter.
Larry, going back to Toyland, when was that? 1990. So
Yeah.
does it dive into the secret to the longevity of some of these, seeing as at the time the Star Wars line had sort of come and gone?
It does. But you see, the decline came in '86, but then it came back. They did like a whole redesign, of a Star Wars figures, and then Mark Hamill is famous for saying, what they did. If you look at Luke Skywalker when I first came out, he's like a normal size, and then the redesign is he was on steroids.
Yeah,
He's got these huge
they all have
and it was kind of like it had the He-Man thing. Let's throw muscles on all
It's
these
like Hulk
characters.
Hogan suddenly.
And the funny thing is
An entire line I avoided.
my collection.
terrible.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because my collection.
aliens were good.
It kind of ends. The Star Wars collection that I have ends between like '85 and '86. When they got into all that, when they did the redesign, I didn't get any of that stuff. So mine was all classic.
but we're
yes,
talking
the
about
ships were good. But back to
the
Logan's
ships are
Run.
good. But we're talking about toys we wished for. And so, okay. I think that we're going to be fine when it comes to Star Wars toys that we wish for, because they're going to make everything.
So let's not
They
talk-
will make everything.
yeah.
There's no Logan's Run. Please make some Logan's Run. I want to see. I would love to see some Life Clock gummies.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? A little
Yeah.
bag of Life Clocks.
Okay, so since the topic is
Wait a minute. Why are you just dismissing my fucking Logan's Run gummies?
No,
That's something that doesn't exist that I want to happen. Why are you ruining my Christmas,
I
Larry?
no, I don't mean to. No,
No. Let's read another
If
passage
you got
from
on a
Toyland.
carousel when you get off the carousel, they give you a gummy life clock.
I liked where Sean was going with this, with the carousel playset.
Yeah.
And if you could do like that as almost like a Milton Bradley game.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
almost like a weird Hungry Hippos thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, you make a really good point.
Renew.
Is that there were almost games for everything. There were a lot of tie-ins, especially in the
Oh,
70s.
yeah.
You know, but was there ever a Logan's Run game? I would have loved the
board
Milton
game-
Bradley
No,
Logan's
nothing.
There was
Logan's
Buck
Run.
Rogers. There was like everything.
even Dune.
You're right.
Battlestar
Board
Galactica.
game.
I had.
Dune.
Dude!
But Logan's Run makes perfect sense too. You have a board game where you're trying to escape the Dome City and find sanctuary.
Perfect.
It's like perfect.
Perfect.
I think
Where's
I
that?
think at that time, if you remember, so Logan's Run came out in '76,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Star Wars comes out in '77.
Yes.
The toys don't come out until '78. So
Right.
I think the logic, and this, I'm guessing here, I think
got it.
that the logic is. Logan's Run isn't Star Wars. Everyone was trying to jump on the bandwagon after Star Wars. I mean, if you
right.
look at all the science fiction films, I mean, whether it's Flash Gordon or Buck
Battle
Rogers
Beyond
or
the Stars,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
I mean,
It got obliterated by Star
yes,
Wars.
and
That's true,
and
that's true.
with all due respect to Logan's Run, which I really like, it's more of a cerebral. It's
It's a
thinking.
time capsule a bit,
but
yeah,
I
but
don't get
I
me
still
wrong.
love
I
it,
still
though.
love it, but
Yeah.
but it's like it didn't have like the little aliens and stuff. But
No,
it's super dated.
It was a
Yeah.
dystopian thing. Also, it was like it wasn't like a.
So and also because it happened after that, this is what I'm thinking. It's like, oh, it's old. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
Star Wars like erased everything.
Everything
that came
did.
before it.
But I will say, with Matt, there are plenty of toy companies who I do not know why they haven't done the Logan's Run. The only thing I can think of is what David said, because Warner Brothers, if they own the rights, they're going to try to do something. They want to redo it. What they don't want to do is they don't want to release that to have figures of Michael York out there, because that'll confuse people. What they would rather do is, okay, let's work on the script, get our movie done, and then come out with those
Right.
toys.
Yeah, but when you've got a specialty company like Hot Toys, they could easily get that license and they could do a beautiful job
That's
on Logan's
true.
Run figures.
Well,
That's true.
and
see,
they
you-
would sell.
Hot Toys, if you're listening.
yeah,
the
really.
guys that did your shocking.
The shock, yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Any of them, there's so many bootleggers. And speaking of that, nowadays, you can order from eBay. If you look for just the head of a character for a 12-inch character.
or Mego figures too. You can get Mego
yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
If you go to like Mego Museum, a lot of people make
Yes.
custom
Yeah,
figures.
where's the
do
Michael
custom.
York head? I've
Yes.
never seen one.
Just get the Logan Michael York head, find a way to create the costume, like nylon or spandex or whatever. You could do it.
Should
Do it
we
yourself.
use the Hutch head, the David Soul Hutch head? Is that close enough?
Close enough for
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Could be.
I
It's
once
underrepresented.
Yeah.
I lost my McCoy doll, and because of that, I did have Starsky, and I painted his hair black, and he was my stand-in McCoy. So it's kind of like me, remember that fourth season of remember that fourth season of Star Trek that nobody watched, so they had Paul Michael Glazer as McCoy. That was my room when I
right.
was
Yeah.
a kid.
That's hilarious.
But I digress.
Oh, the letters that came in then, man.
If I just wanted to throw in something, Matt, because you went into a line that, okay, so you talked about the Logan's Run figures that never came out. Now, are you talking about like 12-inch figures though?
You know what? Anything at this point.
Okay.
I'll even take the reaction
Okay,
ones at this
I'm
point
gonna-
because there's nothing.
Okay, because I wanna jump on this a little bit. So Sideshow Toys, which is a great company, and they a number of years ago, back in the like mid '90s and in the 2000s, they had the license for the Universal Monsters, and they did beautiful 12-inch figures.
and 6 inches too.
They started out with the 6,
Yeah,
and then they
they're
did the
all great.
12-inch.
Those are great.
And those are absolutely beautiful. I mean, we all
Very
have
accurate,
majority
just
of them.
great little base-
But here's the thing
base
that gets me,
dioramas.
and talk about a toy that you wish existed. So they came out with the Monsters, okay? Well, I have my Frankenstein and Frankenstein from Bride of Frankenstein and the Frankenstein from Son of Frankenstein. I would like a Colin Clive, a Dr. Frankenstein. I'd like the Dr. Pretorius. I would like they're
I have them.
Okay, well I know, but they're not.
So you're searching for the Pretorius. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
That's a joke.
Anyway, I would like those, and then to follow up on that, it's like, sure, they did a Dracula, beautiful Bela Lugosi, and they did a Dwight Fry as Renfield. Gee, that's great. But it would be cool if they did also a Van Helsing. Now I could make a little scene, okay? And like the one that I really, really wanted. And I remember talking to one of the sideshow people, Matt Wells, one of the great designers over there. And I said, so, because they just did those first classic ones, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy. And I go, are they going to come out with a creature? And he goes, well, Larry, we're working on it. We don't want to have it come out until we know we can get it right. So I respected him for that. A year and a half later at Comic-Con, they announced it, and they had a beautiful creature for the Black Lagoon. I was thrilled. I was excited. And so now, and the funny thing is now these sideshow toys of the creature, if you have it mint in box, they sell for up to like $250, $300.
Yeah, most of those, all those early figures are hard to get now.
But it's like, so I've got my creature. What is it missing? I want a Julie Adams. I want a Richard
crowded
Carlson.
box.
No. But it's like I want my scene. I want the creature. I want him to be holding Julie Adams in his arms. I want Richard Carlson as Dr. David Reed.
Yeah, but you're talking about the lesson that you learned from your Toyland book, which is that it's a business.
It is,
and there's no way they're going to sell those figures.
And
but you're talking about Colin Clive and.
Ernest Thesiger?
Nice.
Wow.
God damn it.
Who hasn't been drinking tonight?
God, I'm hot for you. I'm so hot for you right now.
Pretorius.
Yeah. But those figures, Distinctive Dummies, did beautiful 12-inch figures. I have both of them.
Yeah.
But there's no you're going, no, they're perfect.
They really are.
They're
and they go perfectly with those other
perfect.
ones.
They look exactly like who they're supposed to be, and they're the exact same scale as the sideshow figures. And so why you would just write those off, I don't understand. Because just because sideshow didn't put them out, so what? No, they're better than the ones that sideshow ever would have put out.
Whoa!
Without a doubt.
Wait, no. I guess
Yes.
No. My thing is
sorry. My friend Martin Cage knows what he's talking about.
Yes, Martin Cage. Yes, Distinctive Dummies, a wonderful company, and they do lovely
excellent work
They do
every single time.
Excellent work. The problem is they only make, let's say, about 100 of these.
Well, yeah, but it's
That thing has been-
And I like it when things are more mass produced.
Why?
What does it matter as long as you
Why?
get one?
Well,
That's part of the problem too, because I'll tell you my own experience. I wanted that Dr. Frankenstein Pretorius. After I saw what Matt bought, I was like, oh my God, where can I get one of these? And I didn't have the couple of $100 at the time. I said,
It's not a couple $100.
I could, $100 for each.
It was about 100. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, okay. So you got to buy the pair.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I held off. Now, forget it. It's a couple years later, and there's no way. You go on eBay, and we're talking hundreds, and that's part of the problem. You can still find some of those sideshow monsters at Monsterpalooza or conventions.
Yeah.
You can maybe pay $75 for one, but
So $75 between $125.
No. Actually, you can pick some up for less.
I'm talking
less, like $40 to $50.
But what I'm saying though is that they made those figures. They were available at a time. If you wanted them, you could get them. And they were available on the Distinctive Dummies website for quite a while.
And the thing is,
and they're beautiful, and and I would say they're much better, especially when it came to the likenesses, than not all of them, but a few of the sideshow figures.
The thing is, though, Martin,
Especially the human
Martin's
ones.
is one guy. He has this small company. He's not a giant company. The fact that he's filling in the gaps of all these obscure but beloved kind of monster characters. I mean, he's put out so many awesome figures, both Mego size and 12-inch size. Yes, he's not a big corporate company, but thank God he's around in making this stuff.
And Larry, I would also say that because they are more limited, they're far more collectible. Why wouldn't you want
That's
that?
true. That's
Why wouldn't
true.
you want the thing that's actually worth more?
I think what Martin is doing is fantastic, and he's doing a wonderful service. My issue is not with what he's doing; it's with Sideshow coming out with these lines and then letting the licenses lapse and stopping, so you don't get to collect all the figures because they stop making them.
Well, that's what's really frustrating is toy lines that come out and only do like a fraction of the figures of the characters.
Oh.
And here's a perfect example. I think it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. I forget the name of the company, but they put out some Sid and Marty Krofft characters.
Yeah.
So they put out awesome HR Puffin stuff figure, and they put out Cling and Clang. It's like, awesome.
Sigmund and Sea Monster.
And that's it for the
Well-
HR Puffin stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Witchy Poo and Jimmy and Orson Vulture and Seymour Spider.
So
There's
many.
Freddie Flute. And they lend themselves so well to toy figures. And then they also put out a Sigmund figure from Sigmund and the Sea Monster. Great. But where's Big Daddy Ooze and Sweet Mama Ooze and Blurp and Slurp?
Yeah.
And then they put out Electro Woman,
Well,
but no
Electro Woman-
Dyna Girl.
Well, now that's the most egregious.
That's a
right?
crime.
That is wrong. That is
No,
so wrong.
Because of the two, who do you really want?
Who'd you rather?
You know, it's funny. I think everyone had. I mean, I had to think for Dinah Girl. It was Dinah Girl, and she had those. Remember the?
She was so
the-
much more approachable.
She had the pony.
Pigtails,
There was
yeah.
ponytails on both
Sexy
sides. Remember, and she was
pigtails.
really.
You know, I have to
cute
say on
and-
my list, where is my slee stack? I'm sorry.
Exactly.
They're-
Land of-
they-
that's
they're-
another one. They didn't put any Land of the Lost figures
The
out.
closest you can get is like the Funko Banks,
Which are okay.
which are fine. But
I don't want to
it's not-
slot in the head of my slee stack action
That's
figure.
true. Yeah.
And also, it's a little more cartoony. You know.
But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the company
He's
that
got
put
big
out
feet.
those
Yeah.
I think the company that put those figures out initially just went out of business. I think that's why, because I guess they didn't sell
Yeah.
it, but they were really well done figures. And like,
Well,
oh my god, I
yeah.
wanted a whole play set, a whole diorama of Living Island.
Well, that was my issue with them years ago. All the Rankin Bass specials were getting action figures.
Yes.
Like Rudolph was getting year after year, new figures were coming out. It was wonderful.
Can't get away from it now.
The company was Plain Mantis.
Playing Mantis.
But they put out most of the characters, right?
They put out
Rudolph,
every
yeah,
character.
But then
yeah.
Santa Claus is coming to town, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
Year without a Santa Claus, Snow Miser, and Heat
Yeah,
Miser.
it's
That was
fantastic. We have all those.
Even Peter Cottontail they came out with.
Oh my gosh.
Some company did. And then nothing. And it's like, well, wait a second. What about
Peter Cottontail did it.
Iron Tail.
Cottontail looked great.
We flew too close to the sun.
and then hoping for Mad Monster,
Party, yeah.
Finally,
That's another one. You're right.
Yeah.
a company puts out 3 figures,
And they're great.
which are great. But where are the other ones?
All the
they
other
just
figures.
stopped.
I know.
It's
So
bullshit.
frustrating. I know.
And you can get, like, if you go to the Funko ones, which aren't really figures, you can get kind of most of the cast of
Yeah,
Mad
it's not the
Monster Party,
same,
but
though.
it's
It's
not
not
the
the
same.
same.
You want the
Yeah.
figures. I know
Yeah.
that's what's so frustrating because especially as a collector and a completist,
Yeah.
you want to get all the figures.
No Baby Happy, Eon, or Ben
I
from
know.
Rudolph's Shiny New Year.
Exactly.
Yeah,
really.
Father Time. I love Father Time.
I have
Wow,
not
nice.
thought of that, I think, since it came out.
Although I will say that nobody would have bought the Christmas in July figures. That's exactly.
You know,
The little drummer boy.
Except me. There actually was a little drummer boy.
Was there?
set.
Oh, you're
Yes.
kidding me.
What about Nestor, the long-eared
Yeah, I love
donkey,
a
or
Nestor.
whatever?
Yeah. Somebody make a Nestor, please.
You know, it's funny. I remember when James and I were at Comic-Con, and at that time, this is like, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were thinking this exact same thing about, certain toys we wished existed. And I had always thought about the Rudolph figures, and that's where we saw for the first time the Plain Mantis
Yeah.
Rudolph figures.
so
and
excited.
we,
That was like a golden age. I mean, they just
we
they just
flipped
came
out.
All of them.
We,
They're so
my
awesome.
wife and I, we bought
They
everything.
make a great Christmas display.
Yes,
on your
yes.
mantle.
I mean, I have my daughter sets up a beautiful display
Yeah.
underneath the Christmas tree. We have the Rudolph train. We have the large size Bumble.
The Santa with the
Yeah,
reindeer and
us
the
too.
sleigh.
Yeah, I have
that's
that.
fantastic.
And now the neat thing is, here we are in 2017, and just recently, I went to Toys R Us, and wouldn't you know, they're still, it's not as much, but they still do classic Rudolph stuff. There's another train, there's another little Santa thing, and I think
Right,
it's one of
right.
those things that I think will come out every year as a
Yeah,
toy.
it is kind of
as a-
iconic, and it's still through
Yeah.
generations. It's still staying.
I say enough already.
Wait, we're
but-
talking about Rudolph. Are we currently on the island of wish list toys?
Oh, nice way to bring it back around.
Yeah. James, what do
Yeah.
you wish for?
Wow, okay, a few years ago at Comic-Con, and I know you guys are going to rag on me for this, but I got excited because I saw a line of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang figures
Wow.
with a nice scale
Figures,
car.
not the car.
Oh, I don't think I
the
ever saw
car,
this.
the
Yeah.
car and the figures.
Yeah.
The figures were like 6 inches.
Yeah, I remember.
I bought the whole set. And along those lines, if you're talking about kids' movies that we loved, Willy Wonka. What about
Yes.
what about
Oh, the
a line?
original, yeah.
the original
Yeah.
Willy Wonka. And I
You're
have
right,
and I have an idea
There
about
is no
this.
other.
Well,
In my opinion.
but
Yeah.
I have not seen anything
Nothing.
with the
Although
original.
I think Hallmark this year has a Gene Wilder Willy Wonka ornament that has sound, which is something.
But you're
Which
right.
is
They're all the
something.
kids.
But how about this? You package them. Each of the kids comes with the parent.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like that.
totally.
I
Because
like
nobody's going to want to buy the
You're
parents.
right. You're right.
But,
Though,
you
but
know,
that's a good idea, though.
Who's like what I don't get
Or
is like,
pieces of the parent, and you assemble one to parent.
Yes. Yes.
No,
and
no, no.
maybe
Somebody
one has a
kid
golden
has an
ticket.
arm.
Yeah.
You never know.
And maybe the Wonkamobile or the
Oh yeah.
But
And the
like,
Oompa
what I don't-
Loompas.
Or the glass
Yeah.
elevator.
Why?
Yeah, the Wonka
Why do they sell like 9 different versions of the Johnny Depp one? Like you could find those all over the place. Is it
You can
because
find them all over the place because no one's buying them.
And you
yeah.
would think too, with the release of that remake, that they would have put
No,
out because
no.
that. But Wonka too, like the Rudolph and all those specials, still generation after generation is still a beloved movie.
Yes.
And it's like it's
You know who would put those out? NECA. NECA Toys would do that, and they would do it well.
yeah.
Because
I'm
they're just-
surprised.
they're
Maybe
just-
like I said, maybe it's the rights or something.
I think
That's-
you have to make a phone call.
You know,
Yeah.
I had the Corgi diecast of Chitty Chitty.
Oh, you had that? The one with the little wings. The little-
HAD.
the
Yeah,
ones-
the
the
little
ones-
wings would come out.
Oh,
yeah?
Now you know that was written by Ian Fleming, which
Yes.
is the segue.
I'm not an idiot.
no, you're
I
a
will-
moron.
No, I'm not a moron. I
it's a
know. I know.
call
It was
back
written
to
by
what he
Ian Fleming.
So in
David
connection to
was.
Ian Fleming, and I want to commandeer for the floor something for a moment that I think you guys would recognize, and that is there has never been, while there have been amazing Corgi James Bond, his vehicles,
Yes.
Right,
a
right.
variety of vehicles, there have been, I do know for a fact there have been action figures, but there's never been a great James Bond action figure. There's never been that I could play with like Amigo size. There are larger ones.
Yeah. I know what you're
Columbus
saying.
ones
And I'm
were
going back to
awesome.
when I was a kid and when I cared about
Right,
James
when you were-
Bond,
right, in the
and I wanted either
70s.
Amigo or a 3 3/4. I'm just going to
Okay,
lop
okay.
that in because
That's true.
even if you could find a James Bond action figure, you couldn't find one wearing a tux, and you couldn't find one that looked like Sean
Sean
Connery.
or,
No, that was
that's-
Sideshow did a good thing by putting
yeah.
out
Later
those
on,
figures.
But
Yeah.
then they stopped.
You're right, and they
you
never
couldn't
finished all of them, right?
Like I wanted, like they came out with George Lazenby, but I wanted Tracy, Diana Rigg, and I had to get an Emma Peel 12-inch
Right,
and
right.
customize the thing.
right.
You know, put it in
You
a wedding dress.
customize it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, this world
I found myself
trumps America.
I bought a Barbie wedding dress to put on her. I'm finding myself
Wow.
Speaking speaking of British TV, this is a figure that I can't believe nobody's put out yet. 12-inch, 6-inch, whatever figure of Patrick McGowan as number 6 from The Prisoner.
Oh, that's a good
wow,
one.
yeah.
That's
Where's
a really
that
good
figure?
one.
Because they put out beautiful Steed and Emma Peel 12-inch Avengers figures. They're awesome. But, Patrick McGowan in that iconic, jacket with the white, outline. Where's that? I mean, come on.
You would think.
Come on, world.
Yeah,
know.
Where's the
Well-
Patrick McGowan from Scanners?
That's all. That's also what I wanted as a kid. Is I wanted my Doctor Who figure, and as a kid, they didn't have it. And once again, Starsky became my Tom Baker
Well, no,
because
they
they kind of had a similar fro.
That's true. Well,
And so
Mego
I-
did put out a Tom Baker figure. It was a little bit larger than, I think it was like 10.
Did they
10
back in
yes.
back in the day?
yeah,
Yes,
what's the name of
they
the
did.
company that it's actually the British
You're
company.
right. It's the British version of Mego.
Mego.
And they put out the robot, and
They
they,
did
put
the
out
robot, they did a
Palatoy.
Cyberman,
Palatoy.
Palatoy, thank
and
you.
they're really hard to find now, but they did.
No, Dennis Fisher. Palatoy did a talking Dalek that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that line included the Doctor, Leela, Cyberman.
Yeah, and they're like
I think there was a
really rare now,
K9.
too. Yeah,
there was
yeah,
also
that's
a
right.
TARDIS.
And this was in the 70s.
It was,
but
yeah.
it was in the UK.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
just
So
the
you
UK,
could not
right.
find it on shelves in.
True.
And I don't think that
domestically.
the Tom Baker face
That's my
was
wish.
actually. It was. I think it was a mold of somebody else's.
Oh, really?
The story that I heard. Who was the guy who was in the New Avengers? The young guy.
Oh, Gareth Hunt. He played Mike Gambit.
Yes. Yeah. And I believe that was the actual mold that they used.
So-
that it
so they
wasn't
were
even
intending-
really. They just I guess they were planning on doing something, but then they shelved it, and so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they were planning to do new Avengers figures.
I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
So now,
that's
David,
crazy.
when you got older and saw that these Doctor Who and 007 figures did come out, did you rush out and get them?
I own a Tom Baker, Fourth Doctor. All of the Bond stuff, in my mind, it must be it must be Connery in a tux or Moore in a tux, and I have not found one to my liking, and so I don't know.
You didn't like the Sideshow one?
I seem to recall, and this sounds obnoxious. I thought the tailoring was a little crazy and off.
But you can customize that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I don't belong to the realm of customizers. I will buy a customizer if it's reasonably priced, but this is where I was talking about earlier, where I'll troll eBay and I'll do lots of wishful thinking, but I really kind of draw the line at how much I'm willing to. I do not stand toe to toe with you gentlemen when it comes to collecting because I've sort of hit my capacity, so I'm very, very choosy with this kind of stuff. So it has to really be an ideal thing or the one thing that got away.
That may be for the best.
Yeah. we've hit our capacity too, but that doesn't stop us.
Stop us. No, it's a sickness.
I have a 6-year-old kid, and he gets a lot of the stuff that I get, and it's
cool.
funny.
That's cool.
I also live a life where it's like, well, do you want to go to college or have lots of Legos? You choose.
And he says Legos. I just wanted to jump on your Chitty Chitty Bang Bang thing just for a moment, because I too really like that car. I did not have the die-cast metal Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but there was a toy that I wish I had that they never made. If you guys recall, actually James would know because he's Mr. James Bond fan. I'm not sure if it's Masudaya, but there was a tin toy company in Japan that made an Aston Martin toy. It was a tin toy, battery operated, and what would happen is, it's absolutely gorgeous. So this is like for like 1968, 69, somewhere around there. And so you put the batteries in and you flick it on, and it would race along, and then it would stop, and the little machine guns would come out of the front and go ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and it would light up and blink, and it was really cool. And then it would spin around.
Cool.
Simple Japanese tin toy. Now the funny thing is, wouldn't it be cool if they made a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang tin toy
With machine guns on it.
No, not machine guns.
So the wings come out.
The
and
wings
that's
come
it.
out. No,
And it
the
plays
wings
the
come.
song.
No, yeah. Can you imagine? No, I don't
buy
think
that.
It'd be cool.
For
But
$1?
at the time, Matt, I don't think they had that ability to put like a tape thing or like musical
No, they
stuff.
do that little like whistle. Like the tin toys. Like
Okay, what the hell is that? Is that Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? No, that's not the theme.
Well, it's as much as I.
Pretty close.
No, I'm not. No, we don't expect it. We don't expect. No.
That's what it is.
Okay, what I'm saying is the tin toy could not replicate that.
No.
And doesn't have the
Right.
patience.
Because you were doing
Chitty Bang with
you were
it.
doing gibberish.
No, I wasn't. I was
Yes, you
doing an
were.
electronic kind of version of that song where you were like reading from the fucking sheet music.
Like, let's face it, when Tim Burton finally gets around to doing a shitty remake of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang,
Well,
then they're going to make
they'll
a
probably put out new toys.
Yeah, but
there already is one.
There'll be a
Anyway.
shitty toy.
It's
It'll
going to be a
shitty toy.
DeLorean,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
But see, we're talking about the James Bond Aston Martin.
Yes.
The Aston Martin is such a great car. It is,
Beautiful.
for me, the iconic James Bond car. It's really, for me, kind of almost the only one. And how great would this have been if, as a kid, they had made a really cool Aston Martin child-size pedal car? How sweet would that have been?
You drive in the neighborhood.
And you press and like if we're looking at the technology of the time, maybe the guns in the front were like
That could-
suction cup guns or something.
That could have been
Nice.
done.
Yeah,
It could have been
yeah.
a
or
simple-
just sounds.
No,
or
it could have been
whatever.
just sound and a light. Matt, that is actually genius.
And then
How
you could
great would that
eject
have
your
been?
friend.
No. See, I know you, Mr. Eject. No, you can't.
Mr.
Because
Eject.
no. It's because what Matt's saying. No, typically these cars that were made for kids, they're like a one-seater. They're
like a big
you go
wheel.
to Toys R Us today, and it's like, oh, they have all these two-seater cars. Not when we were kids. All these
No,
were
it's like it's
one-seater.
usually
Yeah.
they probably have to do like an open.
No, it would be it
So
would
if
be
you had
convertible.
a
It would
big
be a
wheel, you
conver-
would ride bitch. Is that what you would normally do? Or
Okay, that's not even funny. No, but getting back to your
Rumble
thing,
seat.
Actually,
getting back
it
to
was.
your Aston Martin, it's a one-seater thing, and I could see the shape easily, and they could have the molded machine guns in the front, and they had a little button,
And
so
the
it's like
shield.
to the parent,
And the shield in the back.
to the parents, it's like, okay, so you add 3 9-volt batteries, and there's a little button, and it can light go,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Matt, that is a genius idea.
How awesome!
You have to go
would
back
that
in
have been?
time and
Yeah.
design that.
And that's one that I think would have a good chance of being made because it's not. You don't have to go crazy with the design,
Right,
like
right.
a Batmobile.
Yeah, 'cause it's a
No, no,
basic
no.
car.
You could take kind of an existing car and make it kind of look like an Aston Martin.
Well, I don't know. You'd have to create a whole mold, but see, you bring up the Batmobile. The Batmobile was made for a
Right.
kid's
For kids
kid.
now, yeah.
So, but an Aston Martin would be so incredibly cool. I think that's a genius idea, man.
There's a current product out right now, which I have tremendous envy for. I wish I was a kid and I had this thing. And it's a 2-seater land speeder that you can sit in and ride for
No way.
kids.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It just was introduced this
It's
year.
new.
That's awesome.
It's
new.
only $500. I think it's on sale for $400 for the holiday season.
Jesus.
But boy, that's in line with the same thing. Of
Yeah,
total
yeah,
wish
for a kid
fulfillment.
now.
Yeah, there's a lot
right.
of pedal cars that if you really put your mind to it,
Yeah.
they've been.
But
Would have been great.
Growing up in a large family, I mean, we were thrilled. Just we had a bike, and you take like a deck of cards, and you
Sure,
kind
right.
of
Yeah.
connect it to the spoke, and
Exactly.
you hear that, and that was like, hey,
And you
there's
pretend
my.
that was your James
I
Bond
got
bicycle.
exactly.
For Christmas one year, I got a thing, and it was a thing that you could put on your bicycle, and it was like a throttle. And it was electronic.
Yes, I remember that, like
And
a
you go,
motorcycle. Yeah.
And the thing worked for maybe 3 months, and then finally,
Do you still have that by any chance?
that thing. No, God, no, that wore out immediately.
It matched nicely with that Evil Knievel orange flag that you had flapping on the back of your bike.
yeah,
Everyone had to have that safety orange flag at a certain
That's right.
point.
Yeah.
And they had
Really?
yeah, everyone had an orange
I
flag,
didn't
and then
have
they,
one.
and then they
remember
made
that.
an Evil Knievel one. That was the one that you
That was what
wanted.
to get. Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember the orange flag?
I do
right?
remember the orange flag, and I kind of like scoffed at kids that had that. I thought it was
I didn't like it.
I thought it was like. See, you say everybody. No, dude. I thought only. Like kids that weren't coordinated but with bikes had those. It's like there's Jimmy down the street. He's got there, with his big orange flag.
Wow.
So we knew
This is after several kids of your generation got ran over, and so for my generation, they said, "Let's have a little safety here."
I guess so. I guess so. I don't know.
Slow kid.
Okay,
Larry.
can I
All
just?
right.
You're a delight.
Are you gonna?
I'm
Do you want to?
I'm
Because
gonna
I
throw out
want
a
to.
couple here. I'm going to throw out a couple because action figures. Love the action figures.
Okay.
Here's two iconic female figures that I can't believe they've ever made. Vampira. Mm-hmm. Where's the Vampira Deluxe 12-inch figure?
Well, maybe I mean, to do something like that, you would have to contact her estate, or you contacted her, and maybe she didn't want to. See,
maybe.
some of these people from the 50s and 60s, some of these people are strange in the sense that, I don't want to be known for that.
Maybe because there's a great Zachary figure 12-inch to have. which is
Well,
awesome.
he wanted to be.
Yeah,
he wanted to be
yeah.
known. He had no problems with
But
that. And I
think about
actually,
there's been like Vampira garage kits, model
Yeah.
kits, but like a figure,
Yeah.
with the dress, it'd be so awesome.
A whole horror house set.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
How about that?
but she's the most fancy. And then the other one, which you see a lot of model kits, but there's no nice posable figure, and that is Maria from Metropolis.
you're absolutely right.
Where is the figure of that?
You're
That
right.
Seems like an obvious
There,
one.
there was a toy company that made a figure, but the funny thing is, it was stylized.
It was called Silent Screamers.
Yes,
I think,
Silent
and it
and
sucked.
No,
It's
it
not
was
right.
not. No, I
It was bad. It was
Matt,
like, yeah, it was not-
Sean, I didn't get it.
Yeah, it was bad. It was
I didn't
terrible.
get
I
it.
Talk to Sean, but focus your anger at me.
I'm sorry. I'm just always, I'm just,
yeah, no, that was-
focused.
that was
but
really frustrating.
I didn't get it.
I mean, 'cause
I have
yeah.
the Masudaya model, or I should say
Yeah, that's
figure. I
nice.
have that.
That's
Yeah,
nice,
it's
but, like, I
not.
want
It's
something
nice.
you can pose and
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
That seems like a
But, the
no-brainer.
I'll bet Giorgio Moroder has it.
Yes, maybe.
Well, Giorgio Moroder, actually, he was the one responsible for the model pulled out by Masudaya, I think, because
Oh,
it was
really?
when the film came out,
84.
and actually on the box it actually says Giorgio Moroder Productions.
He did a
so
new
he had,
score
so
for the
he had
movie.
something about. He probably has a life-size one, which, by the way, you can get. Because Fred Barton, if you
Right,
go on
yeah.
the internet and type in Fred Barton, robot maker, he's one of the few people that has the license to make the Maria
Oh, he
robot.
can make Maria too.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got
wow.
Maria robot, the Lost in Space robot, Robbie the robot, and a bunch of
Gort and-
Gort and a few
right.
others. And he does an amazing work. They're not cheap.
Right.
But
I mean,
no-
the fact that you can see, there's Gort figures, there's tons of Robbie figures.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that nobody's made a Maria. That's another one somebody's got to make.
All right, I got one for you. How about this? It's a variation on the Operation game. Ready?
Okay.
This
You
is
got
good.
my interest.
This is good. John Carpenter's The Thing. And you're delving into the alien, right? But this is what happens.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Instead of the nose lighting up or whatever on the thing, if you make a mistake, jaws come from the side of the game and close on your hand.
Yeah.
Like the Jaws game, and the nose is a petri dish.
Yeah, right.
That's
Matt,
great.
that
I
is
love that.
genius.
How cool would that game?
Oh my god, I would get that
great.
game. Now,
Yeah.
that sounds okay. It's a lot of moving parts.
No, all it is, it's two moving parts.
You just
You've
need
got
rubber
two-
bands to
you've got,
make it happen.
Yeah.
You've got
that's
two
Or a
spring,
wind-up.
Yeah.
whatever. Spring activated,
Yeah.
jaws, weird fleshy teeth things
Yeah.
that come from the side.
Oh, Matt, someone has got to work on that.
Well, it would also have to be like 3 players or more, and one of the players
Go.
is behind the whole thing, so you don't know who to trust.
That's true.
That's good. I
be
like
great.
that.
I don't know about that.
So,
That'd be fun.
so that's great. So the cards would have little hints.
Yes. Yeah.
As to
Oh,
who's.
yeah.
So it's
you're
a combination of Clue and
Exactly.
the thing,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
right?
nice.
Okay.
Great.
Wow, we got this.
All right,
Write
that's
this
really
down.
nice.
It was McCready in the ice chest with the flamethrower.
There is a role-playing game that's out now.
Yeah,
that
it's kinda
somebody
like
made.
Risk now.
Yeah, that's
That's
like you have to
hilarious.
figure
I
out
like
who's the thing.
Okay, can I just throw out something that I wished I just
Go
really
for it.
quickly? Okay, so
That's why
a
we're
number of
here.
years ago, I met a gentleman named Steve Ford who had a toy company called Go Hero, which still exists. But I remember being really excited. He came out with these beautiful figures, which I guess after a year or two, he kind of joined with Sideshow, and Sideshow was kind of distributing them. I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but he came out with a beautiful Sinbad character, and it was
Sinbad from which movie?
it was
Right, which one?
It was from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
That's my favorite Sinbad.
That's a great one. I've seen that.
John Philip Law.
John Philip Law.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is he told me that, when you're making the likeness of these characters, if you're going to make it just like John Philip Law, you have to get his estate or something to agree. And he had passed away.
Right,
and so they didn't have the rights. So it was like a pseudo one. But what he told me, what I was so excited about was he said, "Hey, Larry, I'm working on a Cyclops." And the Cyclops is actually from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad,
Right.
okay? Kerwin Matthews, okay? So, yeah, you're kind of mixing stuff, but he said it's like a whole, 2 feet high.
Oh, my gosh. It'd be
And,
like
and I said, oh, my God, I can't wait for this. And he goes, so let me ask you a question, because I'm doing like a little, I'm just trying to get everyone's feel here. So would you pay extra money if I had the eyeball in the Cyclops move around? I went, oh, are you kidding?
yeah.
If that was an extra $50.
Like Eagle Eyes G.I. Joe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. But he was thinking it was electronic because at the time he was doing a lot of electronic stuff in the toys.
That'll make
and I
it
said,
expensive,
would you please?
yeah.
I said, look, if it's normally like $250, I would get it. And he goes, great, Larry, this is great. So he marks me down as something. But like many larger monster toys or big toys, the problem is, to manufacture a big toy like that, it costs a hell of a lot of money.
Sure.
And so, for example, just recently, within the past year and a half, when the new Godzilla film came out, the American version, Gareth Edwards, they came out with a very large 2-foot-tall Godzilla. Well, they didn't make as many of those because, again, it's big, lots of plastic, a lot of material, and it's expensive.
And the movie's pretty terrible.
Well, okay, be that as it may, it's really expensive to create a larger toy than it is for a Mego figure or a reaction figure. So sadly, I waited and I waited. I even sent Steve an email. When is this figure? When is the Cyclops coming out? And it never did. And I think it's partially because if they did make them, and this is another thing he said. He goes, look, if we make these, I mean, I need, 5,000 or 10,000 people to buy them.
Ooh,
and he wasn't,
that's not gonna
and it's like I may buy it. But it's like
Yeah.
he needs to find 5,000 people
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
That's
me.
why you don't find the second wave of most of these toy
right.
lines.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I'm
yeah,
still
yeah.
waiting for my Caroline Monroe action figure.
Well, you've seen the
I
one
want-
that exists,
There-
right?
There's a,
I
there's a
haven't.
Star Crash.
Is there a star? Is there
Yeah.
still a
It's like
star?
a-
and
But it
the,
doesn't look
the
quite like her,
likeness.
though.
That's the part that
And that
makes
ruins it.
that stops me from getting it.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
the face is totally wrong.
Yeah.
Well, then what's the point?
I know,
right?
I know.
What about a Barbarella one? Do we have a Jane
There's
Fonda
another
Barbarella?
one, too.
Never seen a
Barbarella.
good one.
No.
And you know what's funny? I mean, look, we're all 5 guys here. Look, who would not buy the Barbarella figure?
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah, I
A
know.
beautiful Jane Fonda figure in that outfit, how
And
cool would that be?
There have been a lot of Ripley figures, but
Yeah.
but what I would go for is at the end of Alien where she has to kind of strip down. And I know this sounds sexist, and it's not
But
meant
you're
to
right,
be.
though. They haven't.
But
yeah.
because it's a 14-year-old, that made an impact, and it's also like she's vulnerable, but she's also surviving and kick ass.
That's what I got from it.
And the action figure comes with 3 layers of tops to peel off one by one, and you still don't get all the tops off.
That's true.
Well,
we don't all feel that way.
That movie kind of gave you everything because, as you said, she's this. She's fighting for her
tough.
life, and to be honest, her climbing out of her clothes kind of almost makes sense because she's
It
getting
does.
into another
Like,
outfit.
I mean, I do that,
Okay.
wouldn't you?
Well, but arguably, I mean, we're talking about Alien and the choice of Ridley Scott, but it was arguably her vulnerability was amplified by that. So that's why, and it was titillating.
And look, and I just want to say before everyone jumps on it, goes, oh, they're all jumping on this girl taking off the clothes. Look, what she was doing is she was getting ready to go into her hyper sleep. So you don't wear all of your clothes when you climb into the bed, and that's what she was doing. She felt, okay, the alien's gone. She's escaped. I'm going to get undressed so I can get into my.
So why
little
not have
pod.
the hypersleep action figure?
That's true. Right.
right
I
with
guess-
with the pod, so
That's
we
right.
justify it.
And with-
a
and
little Jones.
Jones.
And a little
Okay.
Jones,
Right.
little
Yeah,
sleeping
Jones.
Jones.
That's the tabby cat.
I want to ask you guys something like, what is the ideal size for action figures for me? Because I really take to the Mego size, the 8-inch figures.
I'm all about 12-inch.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I love 12-inch too.
I like
but-
I like the Mego ones, but if there's an option of a 12-inch, I go for that.
Really? Okay.
Size. I'm a size queen.
They're starting to make 5-inch figures, which is throwing off the entire
Whoa!
time-space continuum. But the 3 3/4, the concept behind the 3 3/4 is if you wanted them to all have a vehicle, the
True.
vehicles would be
Or-
too
or
big.
sets,
Sure.
or-
You could
that's
never
true.
have a Millennium Falcon. You could barely have an X-wing that anyone could afford. So
true.
that was the idea.
That was always the thing with-
because
yeah.
I owe this to Plastic Galaxy by watching it because that's how they explained the reason why. Because up until then, you had G.I. Joe and Mego, and they defined, and Barbie, they all defined the size. But then
Right,
they
right.
said,
yeah, and their
we
things
cannot.
were huge.
And well, yeah, you know, G.I. Joe had these wonderful Jeeps and
Yeah.
But they were
Oh, I love
expensive.
that,
They were,
yeah.
they were
And
expensive.
that's
If
the
you
thing.
got a vehicle, that was a very special birthday present.
Yeah,
Right.
the
Or like
helicopter.
the space capsule.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
helicopter.
Do you have that?
I love that.
I
thing.
don't have that.
Yeah, the
I've got
helicopter
that.
where you push and make.
Talking about
In the box.
You-
wish
yeah.
fulfillment, I
You-
still want
you win,
that
Larry.
Egyptian
You win.
mystery G.I. Joe. I never got the
I
Egyptian.
had the Egyptian mystery
Yeah.
with the sarcophagus.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Oh, I
yes,
love
but
that.
there's a
Yes.
design flaw that pisses me off.
What? What was
Okay,
it?
You
here-
look through the eye and everything's small.
No. That's if you recall.
It's
that
not.
is
It wasn't made in
$6
Egypt.
million. Huh?
It wasn't made in Egypt.
No. The thing that bugged me, it's not just the mummy from G.I. Joe, but it's also the abominable snow monster. And it's like when you look at the box.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the
Yes,
abominable
I know
snow
what
monster
you're
looks
talking about. I agree.
huge. Well, when you stand the actual abominable snow monster compared to
Next to
it's
G.I.
like
Joe,
he's
he's
like
mini-
he's a mini.
monster.
He's like
He was a lot more abominable than abominable.
yeah, and it bugged me.
He's like the
He
abominable
looks
snowman's
cute,
nephew.
and it's like he's like, oh, we can just throw him in a net. There was no
Yeah,
challenge
it's kind
there.
of the spinal
He's
tap.
Chaka from
Stonehenge.
Land of
Yes,
the Lost
yes.
Drag.
And it really pissed me off. And so, in getting back to the mummy, it's like it's not life size.
It was just-
Besides the G.I.
Well,
it's
yes.
No,
like a
that's stupid. You're right.
It's a mini
but
one.
that's kind of accurate too. Like if it's a young prince who was buried, like King Tut, he was young.
that's
so
true, but-
there you go.
But see, I wanted my mummy
Yeah,
to
that's
be,
good.
Boris
Yeah,
Karloff
or-
size.
or,
I wanted
Christopher Lee's,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I wanted.
And then there
Okay.
was
Everyone would have to say that it was a baby Yeti that he caught.
Yeah,
was,
but then
and then
how heroic is that?
Now, I will say in defense
That's
of
just mean.
Look,
Yeah.
in defense of the G.I. Joe
Yetis?
people, no. the G.I. Joe people, years later, within the past, I think it was like within 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they did come out with a reissue of G.I. Joe, and they had a large size
Yeah,
Yeti.
that was cool. I like that.
And that was
I like
really, it was
that.
beautiful.
They
It was
also
really
did some
beautiful.
cool ones with aliens, weird
Yes,
bug-eyed
yes.
monster
Yeah,
aliens.
it was really
Cool.
nice. It was
I
really
like G.I. Joe a lot more when he wasn't a serviceman and when he was sort of like a mercenary or just an adventurer for hire.
Action adventure team.
Yeah,
That's when I got
yeah.
into them too in the
It's
70s.
Yeah.
funny, but it's like
Yeah.
all those
I didn't,
toy
he
lines.
always had that 1,000-yard stare, though.
Yeah, that's what I liked about him. Like
Yeah.
Joe's seen some shit. He's a veteran,
Yeah.
Yeah, the kung fu grip.
Killing Fields Joe is it's heavy duty in his world.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah.
but I always like. But it is funny though, because I agree with you. Like when you got out of the military and now it's adventure
It
team.
was and it's
And
a
it's
little bit sci-fi-ish
yeah,
fantasy.
and the same
yeah.
thing with like Big Jim, because I was a big Jim
Big Jim
fan.
sports camper.
I love,
Right.
but like when you got away from he can play baseball,
Yeah.
he can he can play basketball, okay, and then you got him into the Big Jim pack,
Yeah.
where it had Dr. Steel and the whip and
Yeah.
Torpedo Fist, which you talked about.
We've talked about that.
But hey, I'm not here to judge their relationships with each other. I just liked the team.
Torpedo Fist was the most popular of the group.
That was. I still have mine, and it's not mint.
And for listeners, the cool thing about this, if you didn't listen to a previous show we did a while ago, Big Jim had there was like a muscle band, a little like
Yeah.
it wasn't metal, it was like plastic, but you put it around
But it
his
looked like
arm.
metal.
Yeah, you put it around his arm where his bicep is, and when you would bend the arm, the muscle would expand and the muscle band would break. It makes you feel like, oh, Big Jim's really strong.
It was cool.
Yeah,
It was cool. He had-
look, that was cool.
Yeah, he had rubber arms,
Yeah.
and they really looked like a real muscle, which was, and this may tell you something about me, but with G.I. Joe, when you took his clothes off, he had like a million different metal rivets all over the place, and
Right.
so that's why you wear all these clothes. You can't go to the beach. You certainly can't go through a metal detector. And what I liked about Big Jim is Big Jim looked more like a streamlined person.
Right.
And G.I. Joe had all those scars from those 7 years being a prisoner of war.
Yeah, no, he had that
True.
big one, right? And they all had that same scar.
It's
And
true.
again, not to go back, but from the book Toyland, what they explained was G.I. Joe, when it first came out, it was like a soldier. And if we remember back in the late 50s and going into the 60s, the big thing for kids was, it was cowboys and Indians or soldiers. Let's play soldier. How many of us didn't play soldier when we were kids? But then you had the whole anti-war, the Vietnam thing, and that's when they realized, as a toy company, they said, we've got to move away from this military stuff,
Right,
which is
and
why
more
they turned
into
to the adventure team.
escapist adventure.
Exactly,
Right,
which was
right.
smart. And that's when they gave G.I. Joe the beard. He had the
right.
furry beard.
Lifelike
But
beard.
I get the whole military thing too, and to me, like I didn't have any problem with that really myself, because there is a military and there's a lot you can do with all the different uniforms, but there's only so far you can go with that. And then after a while, it's like, well, how many ranks are we going to portray in these toys? We got to do something else with it. And so expanding it into a more fantasy world or
yeah.
adventurer world. And I loved, which was the one, was it like a headquarters or something?
Yeah.
It
It was a
had like the-
mobile. It's like a mobile kind of headquarters.
Oh, that's right.
That's how I had
Yes,
that
it was
one
a
opened up.
mobile.
It's great.
and it had like a little beacon that
Spotlight.
would
yeah,
the
'cause
spotlight.
It was kind of like the mobiles from UFO.
Yes,
kind of like
yeah,
that.
it did. Yeah, no,
which is another toy line I would have liked. I mean, they made
now we have
Dinky Toys
Lieutenant-
had the line.
Yes, of
The die-cast, yeah.
which are really great. But like, they never made Mego figures of Ed Straker. And,
Yeah, that'd be
you know,
cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
they put out Lieutenant Gay Ellis, beautiful 12-inch figures, awesome with the purple hair.
Again,
But-
so not in the package.
Yes.
Well, Sideshow's starting to come out with a lot of those Jerry Anderson figures. They've got Captain Scarlet coming out, which is a beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
cool.
looks
maybe,
great.
Maybe they'll do UFO then too.
Maybe.
And they got a whole bunch of Bond ones that are coming out too that I never thought they would
really?
make.
Solitaire, beautiful,
Beautiful.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Odd Job, I think, Goldfinger.
And what's
Nice.
the voodoo guy from
Baron
Live and Let Die?
Baron
Baron
Samedi.
Samedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Jeffrey
one
Holder.
is like looking
That's-
into his face. It's
Teehee.
so
awesome.
Teehee, I think. Was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teehee.
No,
Teehee
was
is
the guy
claw.
with
It's
the,
guy
the clippy
claw.
claw.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it was
And they did
Baron
make one of
Samedi.
him.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's a good figure.
true. Sideshow.
Yeah.
No, the
Okay.
other guy was the Sprite spokesman, actually.
Right.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
No caffeine.
Cola
Never
nut.
had it.
It was
I
Seven
love
Up.
Cola nut.
Or was it
7 Up.
7
It
Up?
was
7
7
Up. 7 Up.
The Uncola.
Now, a lot of the figures that we've been talking about are like the 12-inch ones and the Mego-sized ones. I want to jump back a little bit because there is something that I want to discuss about my good friend Matt over here. We haven't.
This sounds like an intervention.
No, we
Oh,
haven't
boy.
really talked about this, but Matt and I do
My
share something.
sphincter just tightened.
Matt and I do share something in common,
okay.
and that is something that we both love: Mark's play sets.
Oh, yes.
Now, for listeners, if you're not really know, so Mark's was a toy company that was really, really big in the 1950s.
Into the
majority,
60s
the
too,
more,
right?
majority of the toys were made here in the States, and what they specialized in is plastic toys, metal toys. But what they would do is they would make these giant play sets. And for example, like kids loved at that time, let's say 1950, 55, like Western towns.
Right,
there would be
right.
like cowboys and Indians, or there'd be the blue and the gray, a Civil
like a
War, or there'd be
fort.
Yeah, there's a great
The Alamo.
the Alamo. And what I love is those are the big main ones. They did do some funky ones, like there's a circus that actually has a sideshow with freaky
That's
people.
my favorite.
Yes.
That's
There's
and I have
the Todd
almost,
Browning collection.
no, it's,
well, almost.
but it's like there might be a placemat, but the figures are made out of plastic, and let's say the outside of the rim would be made out of metal.
Right.
Okay,
And they're like figurines, right?
They're
very,
small.
but
They're
very
like
detailed
about
and
an
really
inch
well
and a half.
sculpted,
Pretty much
right?
like when you go to any store and you see like the bag of army men.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Marx is really to thank for
Yes.
any of that stuff
Yes.
because
Right.
that was really the basis for their playsets.
Yes.
Those were the size of the figures.
Right.
And the circus one
Yes.
was one of their earliest playsets
yes,
too.
which is and it's beautiful. And Matt has almost a whole circus. Right?
Yeah, I'm missing like one
Yeah.
piece.
But
and-
Missing one freak.
But it's like, but what
creating
what
some.
kids would do when they were kids is, let's say, if you got something like the blue and the gray, which is a Civil War, or you did like a Western with cowboys and Indians, you and your friend would set them up all in your living room, and then you'd have like a little tennis ball, and you'd throw them at to try to damage make them knock down and stuff. So in the 50s, these Marx playsets, there were millions and millions of these.
Did they do space ones too?
Yeah.
There was
Tom Corbett, right?
Tom Corbett. But getting back to a toy that I wished was made and they never did, and I thought it would have been so easy. In 1953, you have The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms come out, and so here's a film, the Ray Harryhausen film, where you have a monster that wakes up from the ice, and then he attacks a city. And I thought to myself, my God, Marx already has the military people. You already have the tanks. You actually have a city. All they would have had to have done was to design and make a monster, the Rhedosaurus. That's all they really had to do. And I've dreamt about, oh my God, I would love to have had something like that. That is a place that I wish had existed. And it would have been easy for Marx to do. But at that time, I have to remember, thinking back in history, yes, it was a successful movie, but cowboys and Indians was everywhere.
Also, though, that's a specifically licensed thing.
Yes.
What I thought you were going to say is I could have seen if they did a Marx playset of a monster castle and all the monsters, and if they couldn't get the rights to the specific Universal monster, you could just
Right.
do like a werewolf and a vampire.
Did another
you see,
competing toy company do
here's-
something like that?
well,
was
what-
it Timmy or
what
which
Sean,
one was it?
There is a company called Remco. Remco came out with a smaller playset, which actually came out with the monster figures.
Oh, I remember
and
those, right.
that was like a little. Are you talking about a different?
I'm talking about like a Marx playset where it's like figurines. They look like they're almost the size of like an army, your regular standard army man.
And
there was like a witch and a Frankenstein,
and there was a
cool.
werewolf.
Monster.
There's a werewolf, and they made figures, but there was never a playset.
Never a playset.
And they actually came out with slightly larger ones that were called pop-up tops, where the head could actually pop off, and you could put it back on.
I could totally see like a castle with a drawbridge and a moat and like
but you see what you're saying is, gee, you have to redesign all these things. I was thinking you have all the
you take an
elements. All you really
existing-
need to do is make one
But
thing.
it could have been also just a generic dinosaur. Then it could have been just a giant monster.
There were dinosaur playsets that Marx made, but I just want to say,
I like
a lot of
those,
people,
too.
we haven't really talked about our love for Marx playsets or even Matt's Marx
That
collection.
is
But
a
I just
whole,
want to
like,
acknowledge
other
that
world.
you have a beautiful Marx collection.
Thank you. And I love that set, and I'm fascinated by it because they do actually have a sideshow area.
What are in this?
And in the sideshow, there's a fat lady. But what's funny is the fat lady, because back then they didn't want to use too much plastic, so the fat lady is really the flat lady. she's very wide. She's not that thick.
That's funny.
And it's a toy you would never make now, but it's
Right.
cool.
But
Like,
it's so great
Kind
because
of
there's
like when you could get 1,000 soldiers for 99 cents, and you wonder why, and they all come.
those
up
were
and
the
they're all paper
flats.
thin.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
right.
Those were the
That's
flats.
right.
It wasn't
Oh my
100
gosh.
soldiers. It wasn't 1,000. It was 100.
It was a lot, and
you-
it was
Yeah.
for cheap.
And you got
yeah.
a lot of you got a Jeep, like a whole bunch of tanks, and
Yeah.
everything else.
The reason why I know is I remember I had $1 and I went and I got the bag of Army Men. I've told this story before, and I was so excited. I got home and my dad, this is like 1972, and I get home, my dad saw that I had the Army Men, and my dad got so pissed at me, and he took the bag of Army Men and he took it back to the store because my parents were very anti-war, which is great, kudos, but my dad didn't give me the $1 back.
Oh,
Maybe that
that's
was my. Maybe that
wrong.
was
he
my.
sold it on
wrong.
the street for $2.
No. But that's how I know it was like 100 Army Men for $1.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about that size, that scale, the Mark scale, this island Earth, how about that? Or Forbidden Planet.
I mean, those are two. You could have made an again. You're gonna have to create the actual figures.
You might have to create now with Forbidden Planet. It's a basic saucer shape for the saucer, and then everything else you could just print, like Morbius's lair. You can print that all
out of cardboard and
like an Altair 4 playset.
Oh, God. And then you would have to make Morbius and Atura and the soldiers.
id monster.
You'd have to make those out of plastic, but that would be such a cool Mark's playset.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've always wanted to see a Sean Connery Outland figure.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I love that movie. I know I'm in the minority, but
No, I like that
I think
movie
we
a
all
lot.
like it.
It kind of gets better with age, actually.
Yeah,
it's a
I
good
do
one.
like it more every time I see it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if we're talking Sean Connery, here's one that I want.
I know. I think I know where you're going with this.
Here's one that I want.
One that does not require
Now,
lots
of
of
course,
clothes.
I would want figures of this, but forget about that. A young Matt Weinhold around Halloween would have loved a Zardoz Ben Cooper costume.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow. But it has to be on both sides. The face is on both sides.
No, you can't.
Well, they wouldn't do that.
Would you be
Yeah.
Connery or would you be Zardoz?
I'd be Zed.
The
I would be-
exterminator.
I would be Zed.
It would be the mask,
And I would have the mask, so then I could take off. And what would be great if they really wanted to go crazy, they probably wouldn't do this.
They wouldn't do it.
But I would have like a wig and then the mustache, the handlebar mustache that I would
Right.
put on under the mask. But I would have the mask. I'd have the Zardoz head, plastic mask, vacuum form, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Now, as a little kid, it would be weird walking around the neighborhood in a big red diaper.
Well,
I get
it
that.
depends on the neighborhood.
It depends on the neighborhood, but not my neighborhood. But if we're talking the Ben Cooper style,
Yeah.
what it probably would have been was it would have been Zed with the Zardoz logo.
It would be
And
his
he-
face. It'd be
and it
his
would-
face
his
right here.
And maybe it would be his body with muscles when they do the little bit of the diaper, but it would
Right, right.
stop at his legs.
Yeah, right,
I think what it would be similar to other Ben Coopers, where it'd be a picture of his face and it would say Zardoz on it. That's
Yeah.
So because when you came to the door, people would look at you and they go,
Oh, what
"Are
are
you a
you?"
village person?" No, it's like it's on your bib. It says Zard. They go, "Oh, you're Zardoz."
You're Zardoz. Oh. But see, like that would be something I could get away with wearing at school.
And it's funny you should say this because they did actually. I'm not sure if it's Ben Cooper, it might have been Collegeville, but they did come out with an alien costume. It
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah,
later. It
right,
wasn't in
right.
'79. It was a little. I think it was later, but. So they could
Similar,
have.
right?
It could have been. There could have been a Zardoz one.
Yeah,
Maybe
I would've- I
maybe
would've
they
liked
just
that.
thought that not as many kids.
Of course
saw
not.
it.
No, would have been a complete failure.
Of wishful thinking with Ben Cooper in Collegeville, I would love a huge selection of those costumes that were available from the late 60s to even early, mid 80s or so, where it's adult sized.
Yes.
So,
because like
every Halloween
wouldn't
or
that make
any-
a great costume now.
Absolutely.
Now, to a Halloween party.
Now.
And a retro
my
adult-sized Ben Cooper
versions of
costume.
the kid ones.
That'd be awesome.
is genius.
Ben Cooper, are you listening?
I'll tell you, it's funny you should say this because just recently in our last Halloween, so at Target, we talked about this on another show, on our Creature from the Black Lagoon show. At Target, they had a kid's costume of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the largest size was able to fit my 12-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it and go, my God, they can't get enough material just to make an adult one?
I know, yeah.
And I remember thinking I would have bought that adult one so fast. So, David, you got something.
You know what, Larry? We have a lot more in common than you would like to believe because my son was dressed as that exact same Creature from the Black Lagoon.
There you go.
Except I gave him a fedora and called him Uncle Gilbert.
And a coat, right? Because it's cold.
Oh, kudos to you, sir.
Okay, well,
But that's a great idea. I
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
idea of an adult-sized Ben
yeah,
Cooper.
somebody's got to do that.
That would be him.
Speaking of Zardoz, I still think, we're talking about Distinctive Dummies and Martin Cage, and just an exterminator figure from Distinctive Dummy. It doesn't even have to be, the likeness of Sean
Please,
Connery.
Martin.
Just with that great, two-faced, Zardoz mask with,
I love
a
it.
gun.
Yeah.
And
I want all of it.
Yeah.
I would anything Zardoz they made, I would buy.
And here's a
But
couple other, wishful Distinctive Dummies figures I think that
Go for
Martin
it.
could do. I would love to see a Mr. Sardonicus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting
That's a
one.
great face. To be easy figure to make. It's just you make him in your regular.
And no
suit.
one's ever made that?
No, and there's never been a Sargonic.
It's one of my
Sargonicus.
favorite famous monsters covers by Basil
Yeah,
Gogos.
that's a great one.
Yeah, yeah.
Rest his soul.
The Projected Man.
Yeah.
That would be
Okay.
a great
yeah.
figure. I know it's a little obscure, but I mean
That's
he's been
obscure,
putting
but that's
obscure
cool.
ones. And Ernest Borgnine from The Devil's Reign.
That is a good one.
Corbus.
That is a good one.
With that ram's head face.
Oh
with
my
that, with
gosh.
the robe. Come on, Martin. That's a great one.
You know, it's funny you should bring that up because we talked about how thrilled we were that there's an actual William Marshall Blackula figure.
Yeah,
It's kind of an obscure one,
Yeah.
you know. But
oh no, he's
but,
put out lots of
but
obscure
yeah,
ones,
yeah.
so,
But
I mean,
but
come on, Devil's Reign.
But
that'd
an
be great.
Ernest Borgnine. I mean, if you
Yeah.
remember Devil's Reign, that image of
That
Ernest Borgnine
goat's
with
head
the
with
goat's head
I
with
think
the
Tom Berman did
It's
the
very
makeup.
it's scary.
Don't you think that he actually looks kind of handsome? I think I think the horns and everything kind of suit him. Like
You know it'd be cool, Sean, if it had like you could put on two faces.
The melting,
the
half melting
face
version, yes.
That
Oh,
would be
that's
so
good.
cool.
I
Like
like that.
like for
Awesome.
example, I actually have a Boris Karloff figure that has 3 different heads. You can have him as a young one or a middle-aged one or like the older Karloff.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So this would be cool if you did the Ernest Borgnine with melting or non-melting.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
like
awesome.
that.
Speaking of Ernest Borgnine, it reminds me a 12-inch Bruce Davison Willard figure
oh, that's good.
with a whole bunch
rats.
of rats
Yes.
and one white
like
one
that.
to be Socrates.
Yeah,
that
that's
would
a
be
great
cool.
one. That's a
Yeah.
great.
Would you
one.
buy that really?
I would.
Oh, I'd totally buy that.
Yeah, I'd be
would,
really
totally.
tempted to buy
No,
it,
I'd buy that in a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that movie.
Actually, I was in a store. I don't remember which one, but I saw the Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner action figures, and we haven't really talked about that movie.
I want the original Blade Runner
Well, that's the
action
thing.
figures.
That's
done.
the
I
thing.
thought they were going to put them out with the new movie.
I really had no interest
They
in
don't
getting
want people to get confused.
Ryan
guess.
Gosling. So, but if they made the original Blade Runner in that scale, like 6-inch. Rachel, they've done bootlegs of Deckard.
We have like bootlegs, really great 12-inch bootlegs.
They're great.
Of Deckard and Batty.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. A Rachel.
all of them, all of
Leon.
them,
Pris.
all
Yeah.
of them.
Pris.
Yeah.
Pris.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even with like the new movie, they put out spinners, but they're the spinners from the new movie. I want a spinner
Yeah.
Okay.
diecast of the old movie.
If we're on Blade Runner, then here's a couple pitches for drones. Drone toys. A Blade Runner spinner drone.
yes.
That's awesome.
That would be great. And
Yes.
I would want it to not just fly, but I'd want to see some lights and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flasher.
Make
Yeah.
it-
That'd be
make it fun.
awesome.
Like LEDs.
Yeah.
And there'd be a little camera in it, so you have like a little monitor. You can see where
yeah,
it's going.
Yeah, that would be great.
You know what
That'd
I
be great.
want? I want a phantasm.
That was
I want
the
a phantasm.
next on my list.
That really flies.
Next
though.
on my list.
Yes.
You are inside
a
my
deadly
head.
one.
Now,
Yeah.
David, wouldn't you think that's a little dangerous? I mean,
That's
a
the point.
Phantasm
Well, I have my-
sphere
Well,
that has
the-
like a little drill and a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd be made of bendable rubber.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
I have,
well,
I
that's
have
rubber.
A,
Right,
I,
exactly.
I have an actual metal replica one that my wife gave me for one Christmas. And
She
Oh,
just
a
she
silver
just
sphere.
throws at him. You know how women in like the old comedy shorts would have like the rolling pin.
Yeah.
And
She
then
just
what-
throws a phantasm ball at him.
And because this is our Christmas show, how come we don't have an ornament?
There is.
There is.
Is there a
It
silver?
came out last
there's
year.
a silver
Yeah,
sphere
there is an
ornament?
ornament.
Last
Well,
year.
there you go. I'm a year late with that one.
If you
but I
listened
need
to
seek it out.
to our show last year, you would have known that. But that's okay.
How dare you?
How about a working? I mean, they have the Hellraiser puzzle box. Now they have a
A
regular.
working one?
Yeah, no, yes. I want one that opens the gateway to hell.
Ew, weirdest kid in the world. Like, this is the worst Christmas ever.
Where's Pinhead?
No hell. Thanks, Santa.
Yeah, I want
Well,
one
when
that
you-
actually opens the gateway
No,
to another
come
dimension.
on.
And the
Can you-
Cenobites
no,
come
be
forth,
be
they wish you
serious.
Merry Christmas.
See, you're
Yeah.
you're in fantasy.
sing
land.
carols.
I think I know what you're saying. Though you want a
Well,
puzzle box
they-
that does all the
Yeah,
things.
they
That-
do
and-
actually have a Rubik's Cube one where it does, but it doesn't do like you don't have to do it. You press a button and it does the movement itself.
Yes,
That's what you
yeah.
want, you know,
and
so.
you could do something like
Yeah,
that.
hey, come on. Where's that?
Okay, here's one. Here's one. I don't tend to spend a lot of money on these 12-inch Hot Toys, but I was so impressed with the Christopher Reeve Superman they came out with.
That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
beautiful.
$200,
Mhm.
and then 66 Batman. I got both Batman and
Those are
Robin.
really nice.
They're
They're
expensive
awesome.
but beautiful.
Yeah.
Because these are, for me, the iconic representations of these heroes when I was growing up. I would love, I don't know how they could do it, a Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
That's a great
Actually,
idea.
you know, have they not not put one out yet?
You know, again, Hallmark did a little ornament.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't remember
You're right,
seeing
though.
one.
There's a fine line, Sean, I think, between you can make generic Wonder Woman.
Right.
Linda Carter, it's like a Linda Carter
No,
Wonder
but they
Woman.
did Christopher Reeve.
But didn't
Well,
Mego put out a line of 12-inch Wonder Woman figures?
But it wasn't.
Yeah, but they
it wasn't. It
they
wasn't
didn't look
Linda
like
Carter.
Linda
Okay,
Carter.
okay.
It was supposed to be, but it didn't look like
yeah,
it.
Right, okay.
exactly. And we've seen toys like this before, where for example, the astronaut in our classic Mego Planet of the Apes, he looks
Yeah.
nothing like
Well, he
Charlton
was Action
Heston.
Jackson.
No.
That pisses me off.
exactly.
That's a toy I would have wanted. Where's the Mego
Because now-
Taylor Charlton
well, now-
Heston?
now-
That's what I
They
want.
actually do have it now.
Yeah. Well, now they have all kinds of.
Well, yeah, I
Well-
mean, like the whole answer to our entire episode here is they have it now, 9 times out of 10.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So-
But at the
Except
time,
for Logan's
though-
Run.
At the time though, I always wish they put out a Mego A-bomb worship hall playset.
Yes.
From Beneath the Planet
Yes.
with a bomb and
Yeah.
like the light up like crystal controls. Come on, and mutant. They never put out mutant figures.
I want.
You're right.
Cornelius and Zira's penthouse suite from Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, where she takes a bubble
with
bath.
workable
Yeah.
bubble bath.
And
Yeah,
little
that's
bottles
right.
of grape juice plus.
All over the
Yes.
place.
These are all great.
And
I
that
love
awesome terry cloth robe.
Yes.
I love that robe.
Speaking of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, something occurred to me the other day that I don't think we ever talked about.
Okay.
The mutants, they've got these masks. They pull them off. There's no
Right.
skin. It's horrible.
Right.
They're underground. Why do they bother to have masks?
Because they only reveal their true inner
Yes.
selves to their god
It's
when they're
religious.
when they're doing the ceremony.
okay.
Maybe if you would
I
watch
stand
the movie,
corrected.
you
It's
know,
so
There's
why-
not a lot of
in a
sun.
way.
It's kind of chilly
Yeah.
down
Why
there.
does the Pope wear the crazy hat? Because it's a religious
religious
thing.
thing.
I reveal
Man.
myself unto
Yeah, that's,
my
oh my
God.
God. Oh, to my
Yeah,
God.
I've got
Why does James Franciscus look exactly like Charlton Heston throughout the whole movie?
Oh, he
Well,
wishes.
He is a little smaller.
And nicer teeth.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
Yeah, that is true. I like James Francisco.
But-
I
No,
wanted
he's
a
great.
Nova.
I love
I
him
definitely
in that.
wanted a Nova.
Yeah, Amigo Nova.
God, yeah.
Yes, Amigo Nova.
But I think it's
Amigo
better
mutants.
off that they didn't have one.
So not mint.
Yes.
All right. Well, okay. There was a toy line that came out right before the moon landing. This is from 1968, and it was made by Colorforms, and they were trying to. I should say, Mattel made a line called Major Matt Mason. These little rubber figures that had a little wire in
Awesome.
it. Well, Colorforms wanted to jump on that bandwagon. They thought, oh, space is really big. So they made a series of aliens known as the Outer Spacemen. And in the toy community, they're known, a toy collector community, they're called the Colorforms aliens. And they're really hard to find to get the main set. Okay, there's like 7 of these little guys, a little man from Mars, Jupiter, Uranus. And so they're really, really cool. But they made a second set.
Right.
On my list, Larry.
Yes, they made a second set. Unfortunately, the story that I hear is we get to the moon and we saw, hey, it's not made out of cheese. There aren't any aliens there. And now people were thinking, oh, it's not science fantasy, it's science fact. And so Colorforms dropped the idea of doing the second set of aliens. And the thing that I wished that they came out with these aliens, because there was one that had 2 heads and it had like a
Yeah.
bubble helmet.
Yeah.
And it was
They're all great. I
They're
love 'em.
so cool. And there was one that was kind of like a fire guy,
Almost like a demon.
Yeah, a demon guy. There was a guy like that had bat wings. A guy that had a movable little head. There was like a guy that
A
was
weird
like
cyclops.
And so all of these, if you look at these, they're so creative, innovative, and
really
I
cool.
would have loved to have had these.
But see, that's the weird thing about toy manufacturers thinking like, oh, we've been to the moon and there's no aliens on the moon, so kids don't like aliens.
Yeah.
No.
but let me
They
take
still want
now.
aliens.
But getting back to what David had mentioned earlier. So these were the figures that we never got as kids. But there is a company that later on made these figures.
Slightly smaller scale.
They are smaller
But
scale.
they're pretty
'cause
awesome, though.
What's cool is the ones that came out in the 60s were rubber that had the wire, and if you put it in the bathtub, the wire would break, because it would rust. These figures now, they're smaller, but they're designed in the same physical. They have
Yeah.
the same physical characteristics,
Same little,
and they're
accessories.
yes, because they're made of plastic and a few additional accessories. So the company Four Horsemen, which is kind of like a new toy company, they did a beautiful job of not only coming out with the main color forms aliens, but not no, they're outer spacemen. But they did the second set,
Yeah, I think
and
they
then they've gone on to do more.
Yeah, I think they premiered at Comic-Con, right?
and
Yeah.
they are beautiful figures. They're really nice, but still going back to like David, the figures that I wish I had that they never made, the rubber figures, the second set of color forms, it would have been
Yeah,
great.
awesome.
You know, do you remember the talking alarm clocks they had? Like there was that Batman talking
Sure,
alarm
yeah.
clock.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a
Where,
famous one.
you know, he'd be like, "Come on, Robin," and you could barely understand anything he was saying.
If you heard my muffled voice, get up.
Well, one of the things, because my name is David and I love 2001, I always wish there was a HAL talking alarm clock.
Gosh, you're right.
Good morning, David. It's time to start your day.
I don't like that at all.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, David, if I'm going to hit snooze a second time.
Oh my God! And you know how great in our
And your name's David.
in our day. No, but also in this day and age
Yeah.
with our technological
It could do-
technology.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, you
Alexa,
can insert
I
your own
think
name.
yeah.
By HAL.
Oh my God, that is a great idea.
Manufactured
I love
by
that.
IBM, hopefully.
Dave.
Right.
If you sleep any longer, you'll sleep forever.
Exactly.
You know,
And then if you do hit snooze. If I hit sneeze, it'll say bless you.
Good night,
understand.
David.
Yeah, no, but it'll make you go to
Your
sleep by
cold
going.
is too bad for this to jeopardize the mission.
You know, if you want to go to sleep, it'll sing Daisy.
That's
to
right.
you.
Oh, that's a great idea. And
Yeah.
you know what's amazing? When you and I were kids and we got those Star Wars figures, we were saying, gee, wouldn't it be great if my 12-inch Star Wars figure could actually, fight with the lightsaber and make noises and stuff. Today
And now
they
they do it.
have that. I had I had a little Yoda that was like, ooh, Magic Fortune Yoda. It's basically a figure, and you turned him over and it had one of those. It was like the Magic 8-Ball, and it says, "Happen will not." I wouldn't say it. That's my voice. It would just have the little
wasn't bad.
cube. But it's like now they actually have the Yoda that actually talks and tells stories, and his little
I know,
rubber
it's
mouth
kinda
moves.
crazy,
And
I know.
it's so cool.
And we have Hal now. He's called Alexa.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
there
true.
you go.
That's true.
But it's not the same.
So how it a sex change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I know what
It's
David,
Holly.
I know what David is saying though. That would be cool.
All right. Here's one that's going to be a little controversial.
Ooh.
I love games. I like the idea of them. I don't like to play them, but I like to picture them
play
in my
them?
mind. I don't really know.
Well, what if we played a game? Come on,
That would be fun. No, honestly, that would be fun. But just in general, like when somebody invites you over to game night,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I can't wait to leave.
But if we did it
If
together,
we did it,
this
would be
be
great.
fun.
It would be fun.
With David.
You don't like Alan Parsons' project either, do you?
I don't.
Games
No,
people play. All right.
no
good
I,
to
do,
go.
I do not
You
like
didn't like
the
the Alan Parsons project?
But I
No, do
digress.
not.
Please
I'm sorry.
continue.
It's sorry no.
Games.
But so here is the game: Human Centipede Jenga. Oh, right.
Okay, I
And
don't.
so what
I
it
don't
is
get it.
each piece is a person.
Each
And
piece is
so
a person?
what you do is a naked person or whatever, and what you do is you just keep making the centipede longer and longer by stacking the pieces all the way up. By the time you get to the top and it falls over, what you've actually done is you've committed a mercy killing. Because now they're free. They're dead because what's happened within the game is that they've ripped apart.
Right. That's funny.
And now
'cause
they
I
can go
have-
to their maker.
I have that on my list too, as just figures like barrel full of monkeys. You just get a barrel full.
Oh, that's good, too.
You attach them together. and
You
have
know-
I like
fun.
that too.
Yeah.
Or some sort of like
Like-
Lego kind of thing
Yeah,
where you can
yeah.
keep.
It's funny
Yeah.
because I think I found something on Facebook, and I'm assuming it's a joke, but it was a Lego Human Centipede set, and I sent it to you.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And I go, oh my God, this is something Matt would love. And
No, I do.
yeah.
I wish that existed. I wish there were more Human Centipede things.
Yes.
As much as you love that film, I believe you're still processing it. That's why you go through this over and over and over.
No, I do.
That movie wrecked you. That movie
when I
wrecked you.
every time
and
I
you
go-
just don't realize it yet.
Every time I come back to it, it's like Outland. There's something new to love.
Like Francis Sternhagen. Okay.
And for the listeners, I think if you've heard this, we've
yeah,
talked about
it. It's
Human
exactly
Centipede.
what it sounds like.
It's like I don't recommend you go out and see this.
I
Why?
do.
Well, yeah,
If you're a
because you've
horror
never
You
seen
recommend
it.
the sequel.
You are
can't recommend
commenting
a
on
movie
something
you haven't
you've never
fucking
seen.
seen.
So you're
It makes me throw up in my mouth, Matt.
okay, but you haven't seen it, so you don't know how they pulled it off.
You might as well be one of the video nasties people who are
Yeah,
condemning
yeah.
videos. But don't even,
Thanks,
haven't even
Mary
seen it.
Whitehouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Faces of Death wasn't real either.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have another toy you want to talk about?
Okay, how about this one then? Here's another game.
Necromantic, the board game?
All right, here we go.
Oh, come on.
So there's a game that's, I guess, kind of popular right now called Pop the Pig. Do you know what this is? No. So it's this game. It's a kid's game. I saw a commercial while I was watching like SpongeBob. And what it is kids feed this like big plastic cartoony looking pig. And they keep feeding him food. And what happens is that when he gets too full, you actually see his belly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes, that's it. And eventually what happens is that little girdle that he's wearing.
We'll post a picture on Facebook.
We'll post a picture. But the girdle pops, and then all the food that you fed him just goes flying out of it.
So he explodes.
He explodes.
So it's like a Meaning of Life, Monty Python.
Yes, it's like Mr. Creosote. But I think you could do a variation of this with Alien. And what you do, and it's Kane.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Kane, you just keep feeding him a little bit more because you remember
Is it
in the
noodles
movie.
we're feeding him?
They were eating breakfast or
Sure, whatever. But let's
dinner or
make it
whatever.
noodles. You got to feed you feed him a couple because he doesn't eat too many of them.
Right.
So you keep feeding him a couple noodles, and you see his stomach get bigger and bigger, and then finally that chest burster comes out.
That's
Wow.
a great
And
idea, though.
and it's for kids 4 to 6.
There has
that's
to be some
genius.
sort of game where you don't know if you're the one where the chest burster is going to pop out when it's your turn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
think
basically what this
that's
is.
a great idea.
The only thing I want to say about this is that the flaw here is it's 4 to 6. It's too narrow gap. It has to be something like from 4 to 12 or something.
Suggested 4 to 6.
I'm just saying.
We know
you
who's
need
gonna
to open
buy
it
it.
up to other kids.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm willing to haggle on that.
All right. Here's one. Speaking of kids, this is a show that I know Matt and I love. I want a puppet line, a toy line of the puppets from Candle Cove.
Absolutely.
From Channel Z.
Oh, this is new.
Do you know
Perfect.
about this, David?
This
No.
is new.
Why has no one seen this friggin' show?
I know this is
Because we're watching Stranger Things.
this
Yeah,
is, Candle
sorry.
Candle Cove is a creepypasta story.
Right.
And there's a TV series called Channel Z, and each
right.
season they do a different creepypasta. And the first season was on Candle Cove. And Candle Cove, which we said this before, Candle Cove is this mysterious, bizarre, freaky, disturbing puppet kids show that little kids remember watching like in the 70s or 80s, but nobody else remembers it, and there's no information on it, and they know where it came from. But these kids remember it, and there's like this common knowledge of this show.
It's like the Sinbad genie movie that may or may not exist. Are you aware of this?
No.
That's a whole millennial thing. So
Yeah.
it likely ties into that
Maybe,
concept.
yeah. Okay, but the idea is that the kids saw the show, but the parents claimed...
Sinbad the comedian. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But the kids claimed that, oh no, you weren't seeing when you were watching. You're staying in front of the TV all day. You're just watching static. But the kids are so there's this creepy, bizarre thing.
Great.
The show, like the TV show, makes you go kill people, and it's super disturbing, and bizarre, and weird. And there are these puppets. I mean, freaky puppets like these. Percy the boy and Horace Horrible the skeleton, and I mean
Whoever designed them really did a great job of
It's-
finding that perfect line between what you would almost
uneasy.
see on a real kids TV show
Yeah.
and then terrifyingly weird.
It's like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood meets Hieronymus Bosch. It's like so
Yeah,
disturbing.
very good.
And they can make the puppets. Not only the puppet figures, but in the TV series adaptation, there is this bizarre tooth boy. This
He's
creature,
covered
a
in
little
teeth.
boy made out of little kids' teeth.
Little
He would
children's
steal
teeth.
children's teeth and put them on him to
Where's
make
the
him.
plush?
Where's the figure of that? It's the most disturbing and unique and bizarre thing.
I'm with
I
you.
want an action figure of
Me
that.
too.
So
Big
that
time. I'm
and the
gonna-
puppets.
Yeah.
Please, somebody make that.
Yeah. I might have to.
Okay, I got one. Real Action Heroes, a Japanese company, came out with a 12-inch Phantom of the Paradise figure. So many years ago,
yes.
Yeah.
and it's since been reissued, and it's
Was
beautiful.
Wasn't it Metacom?
Well, I think Metacom did the reissue.
Okay.
I may be mistaken, but I want to say the original was Real Action Heroes.
Right. Okay.
Very
Which is
rare.
Metacom.
Is same thing.
I think so. Right.
cool.
Okay. Right.
I'd like the line to continue. I would love a Paul Williams Swan.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Beef.
Beef.
Garrett Graham.
Got it.
Yeah.
You need
Even
beef.
Jessica Harper. You know?
Yeah, Phoenix.
Yeah.
They're very colorful characters with great 70s styles.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Great idea.
I'd buy the whole thing.
Me too.
Yeah. You're right.
No, that's a great idea. That's brilliant.
Again, distinctive dummies.
There you
I
go.
mean, I could see him doing all those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me know when they come out, because a few weeks later they'll be.
I will. I'm on his mailing list.
I would love to see some Hills Have Eyes figures.
Oh yeah.
Never seen anything
right.
from
Those
Hills
make
Have
great
Eyes. The
figures.
original Hills Have Eyes. I would
The
love
original
to see
Michael Berryman.
Michael
Yeah,
Berryman
I'd love to see Pluto
alone.
and Papa
Yeah.
Jupe. And
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
all-
there's
any of
kind
those figures.
there's sort of a whole avenue that we've sort of talked about, but we haven't talked about, and that's where we got the action figures. I was complaining about, I didn't have the perfect James Bond for me. I felt that way with the Road Warrior action figures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
right.
finally came out with Road Warrior action figures, and they were all sort of like emaciated, strangely elongated.
the Max was kind of the worst one.
they weren't right.
None of them.
No, you're right.
I wanted none of them. I wanted all of them, and I could not get it.
I bought a few of them because I am so in love with that original movie. Like
Yeah,
the
but
Mel
it-
Gibson run minus Thunderdome. I'm not a big fan of that one.
Right.
But like the first two are so great.
Yeah.
And like I would love to see a really nice line of those in any scale.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I would also really like to see, which I thought that they were going to do with that line that you just mentioned, I want the car. I want Max's
Yeah, you
car.
want the Interceptor.
Car.
The
Right.
Interceptor.
Coolest thing.
Right.
And I've
With the
seen,
dog. With the dog.
With the dog,
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
But I've seen model kits, and like if this was something that was coming out around the time, obviously the timing would be a little off from when I was a kid, but I would love to have seen something like remote controlled. Road Warrior cars that are almost like, or like SSP. You remember that?
The Smash Up Derby. where they were
Smash Up
like-
Derby, right?
Yes.
Smash Up Derby.
They're made
And so
to
you make
crash into each other.
Yeah.
SSP
Oh my
Mad Max
God.
cars
Yes.
that have the pieces that fly off
Yeah.
when they hit each
Yeah.
other.
Oh,
How great would that
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to be so much of a thing for kids anymore. Back in the 70s, it was like smash 'em up.
Yeah, physical, like the Evil Knievel,
Yeah,
Rip Line
Demolition
thing,
Derby
Demolition
stuff.
Derby stuff.
Now you don't-
Now it's with the video games
and
the-
the wrestling. It's like you go to Toys R Us and there's so many wrestling figures. Like,
But they can't wrestle.
I know.
That's the part that I
Kids
don't
do
understand.
have because they're Lego obsessed now. They've got that Ninjago has
Yes, it's
the
huge
art of
now.
spinjitzu, and they have these things where it's kind of like the
Yes,
SSP, where
yes.
it's a ripcord and you have zzz, and it does
So maybe
spin, and they
that's- yeah.
are in a bit of a Thunderdome environment
Oh,
I
where
like
they
that.
smash
Okay.
into each
Yeah.
other. So
The more
there is a
violence,
bit
the
of the
better.
kinetic experience for the kids these
Let's
days
go.
when
SS
they can get themselves off of a TV
Yeah.
screen.
And
Right,
if you've
right.
never heard of SSP, you just described it where it was like a little rip cord that had these cars had like one giant big wheel in the middle of it.
Right,
Center
right.
of it, yeah.
And the cars looked like concept cars, kind of along the lines of, say, a Hot Wheel, but a
Right.
much bigger.
A little larger.
And
Funny
when you-
cars.
Funny cars,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And you would do that ripcord, and these things would fly. I mean, they
No,
would
you can
go
make 'em, yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
And I would also say, you brought up Evil Knievel. Like, I loved my Evil Knievel.
Oh, me too.
And
Me
you'd have this gear that you would turn that would gradually get Evil Knievel's bike going faster and faster, and then
Yeah.
you'd release him, and he would do jumps and flip in the middle of the air and land correctly.
You could set them on fire, and then it'd be awesome.
You could put him in the hospital. It was awesome.
He never quite made that Snake Canyon jump, even when we played that game.
No, that was pretty bad. Yeah,
Exactly.
that one didn't work too well. But hey, do we want to do like one last little round
Yeah, let's
here
do a
of
round.
One
throw
last
some
lightning
things out?
round.
What do you got? Anything else?
My last one that I was sort of thinking about is not as exciting, but it's kind of a convenience thing. And I was when Atari was really, really big, they always had the best games. They had Asteroids. They had Pac-Man. I was the Intellivision kid. I was the kid who had Intellivision on the block, and so I was an expert at Intellivision. And all my joystick friends would come over to play Intellivision. They'd get really frustrated with these different holders that had a disc and numbers and stuff. And I always wished that there was a compatibility where all the games could be played on all the systems. Might as well include
Right.
Odyssey and Pong and Haunted House in
Wow,
that
so
as
you're
well.
into all that stuff.
But I always, there was a certain part of my life where, while I had lots of great friends, and they were friends because they were my friends, but they were also my Atari friends, or my friend who had the Mego Apes Treehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
that would have been
Yeah.
Larry. And and so I did selectively choose certain friends for certain toys.
You could have come
Right,
over
that's true.
any time and played with my Planet of the Apes.
To
But,
this
but
day.
you wouldn't take it out of the box.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to tell you something. My,
Oh, no.
My Planet of the Apes treehouse is not mint in package.
So you took
okay?
it out, as a kid, you took it out and built it and played with it, right?
Kind of, yeah.
What's kind of?
Why? What do you
You're
do?
so sheepish and embarrassed
Well,
about playing with
He
your
built
toy.
it, took a picture of it, put it right back in the box.
Well,
look at the picture.
I maybe took it outside maybe twice, and then I didn't want it to get dirty. So then I brought it inside, you know. But you know what? If I knew you, I'd say, "Hey, David, want to come over and play Planet of the Apes?" And we'd
Okay.
But then you'd get angry at me because I'd be like
Yeah,
the kid who ruined your toy because I wanted to flip
You
the
got
table for
smudge
the
on it.
guns.
What did you want to do?
I'd flip the table for the guns on
No,
the other
that's
side.
no, that's
but you'd
okay.
say, "Don't flip it! You're gonna break it."
No. I
You would
wouldn't- I
have to
wouldn't
wear
say
rubber
that.
gloves.
No,
Working
you
all
wouldn't
this
wear
stuff.
rubber gloves.
Okay.
No,
In
you
a
wouldn't.
bubble.
Larry,
No, if you came over in like this pyro over here, if you started to like take out a little smoke bomb and light it on fire and go, "Hey, let's
but
make it."
I filmed it on my Super 8 camera.
Oh,
so
that's
it was
great.
cool.
See, I would have hated to have Sean because Sean would be the destroyer. I would have
that
talked
was
to my
years
parents.
later. That was
Hey,
after playing
Mom,
with the
Dad, you know
toys
Sean?
forever.
He destroys all his toys. He lights
Sean, I
everything
would
on
have welcomed
fire.
you to my house to destroy my Starhawks that I used on Super 8, and I destroyed those.
Okay,
but Larry,
see? Yeah.
my young self, I thank you for the invitation, and I will travel through time to play with your Apes
All right,
Playhouse.
there
Thank
you
you.
go.
Wow. All right, talking about 12-inch figures. Jaws is one of my favorite movies. I would love to see Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw
you're
in 12-inch.
They never did those, huh?
In those,
I want that too, I think.
that they
Yeah.
wore. That- I mean, you wouldn't get a shark in that scale, but who cares? You know, you just have those.
Right, yeah.
Also to throw.
I want the one with the chum gloves.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah.
And you get the little barrels as accessories.
Couldn't you cheat the playset a little bit by doing like having the shark like halfway out of the
Forced
water kind of a
perspective,
thing?
sure,
Yeah,
thing.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Like the Yeti.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
They came out with a 3-inch
Aw, baby
one,
shark.
which is cool, but to have the 12-inch would be really
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
And also to bring up NECA again, you know, they're coming out with these really great, affordable Godzilla figures from all the different
Yes,
stages and
which is
different
great.
costumes.
All the classic Godzillas.
What I'm really hoping is that they continue the line so that at some point there will be a figure from every Godzilla, like every costume represented, so you could have them all displayed on a shelf.
Godzuki.
Well, okay, yeah, but it wouldn't break the bank. And, you know, including from the 60s and 70s, all of those funky period Cookie Monster costumes.
Right, right.
You know, because they're beautifully done. And again, they're affordable, like $20 a pop. So I
Yeah.
hope they keep doing them.
That's cool.
Okay, well, one of the last ones for me is there's a movie that I love that had a great submarine. I'm talking about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I know everyone's going to jump, oh, they did. No one ever made a perfect Nautilus that you could play with in the bathtub.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
true.
there are submarines called the Nautilus. There is actually a beautiful tin toy that you could put in the water. Of course, you would destroy it,
Really?
but it's a friction toy that was made by a company in Germany that was called the Nautilus, and they had the rights from Disney. It has like a little front similar to it, but it doesn't look exactly like the Nautilus. I wanted a realistic plastic Nautilus that I could play in
Screen
the bathtub.
accurate.
Was it
Yeah.
made to go in the water?
It was.
That
it
was
was
the idea.
And
right?
and I think I mentioned this story once before. It had a rubber stopper at the top. You would take the rubber stopper out. You would wind it up, put the rubber stopper in it, and then you put it in the water, and the little motor would make it go in the water, and it was metal. So what would happen over a period of time is it would rust. And that's why to find these in perfect shape for
Right,
kids
right.
that didn't put it in the water, you know, it's really, really hard. That's why they sell now for anywhere between $200 to $300.
Wow.
And
It has to come with the octopus, though, too, or the squid.
that would be
right?
that would be
course.
great
Yeah.
with the big squid, but they never came out with that. Yes, there are models, and yes, there are pseudo Nautilus, but they never made one that looked exactly like the one
Fueled
in the-
by baking soda?
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
Sean.
All right. Well, this is a figure that for a movie that actually has just come out. It's out now, limited release. So maybe they will put out a figure of this character. That will be the amphibian man from The Shape of Water.
I want that too. And I think they will.
Beautiful, played by Doug Jones. This
Oh, such a great movie.
great movie, and it's kind of a Creature from the Black Lagoon-esque, but it's also its own unique design. Fantastic character, fantastic performance, fantastic movie, and man, a 12-inch figure of that.
Do they
that
currently
creature.
have an Abe Sapien temporary figure available? No.
I think they do have most of the
Most of that
most of the
stuff
Hellboy
is
stuff is
available,
Out. Yeah,
yeah.
but this amphibian man would make a great figure if they did
And I
it
would
right.
want then a Michael Shannon.
That's true. That's true. Guillermo del Toro did a great job with this film. It's fantastic.
So as
great.
this is coming out on Christmas. This is 2017. I mean, people listen to it later. It's such a great movie. Hopefully, with time, they will come out with these figures.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
fingers
hopefully.
crossed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Matt, why don't you bring us home here?
All right. Well, you know, I'm a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah.
And so one of the things that's so scary and creepy in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the initial scenes where one of the young girls falls into Leatherface's kind of playroom and the floor is covered with feathers,
Yeah.
and there's a chicken in a cage,
Yeah.
and you see all this furniture that has been made out of human body parts.
Bones.
A couch and like a little lamp, and then you see a jaw here, and there's a mobile of things hanging. And so I thought, for kids who are fans of this movie, wouldn't it be great to have like a little kit where you got a bunch of human body parts, plastic, of course, and some twine and stuff like that, and it's a little kit where you can make your own little pieces of furniture.
It's kind of like a Mr. Potato Head for Texas Chainsaw Massacre fans.
I was thinking more like along the lines of, say, you'd have to mold it right, but a very basic version would be like Tinker Toy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
make a
Right.
thing.
Right.
But I would see a more advanced version where, for the slightly more accomplished sculptor, modeler, where you could take twine and things like that, and you can wrap it around. You got some paints that came with it where you could maybe put a little stuff on it that looks like blood or whatever, and you can make a chair or a lamp, and there's jaws.
That'd be awesome.
And,
And then you could put them in Barbie's dream house, and then we can find out the real secret of Barbie and Ken's
and wouldn't that,
relationship.
and see now how great would that be, so that you make all this stuff, and let's say it's all that scale, right?
And Barbie and Ken are going on a vacation in Texas.
Well, yeah, the your sister goes to school, she comes back, and there's all these feathers all over the dream house. There's a chicken in a cage, and you've set up all this furniture, and she doesn't know what she's in for, but she knows that it's not good.
You know what, Matt? I would be really worried if I came across any kid who excelled at this
you
project.
should come with a rubber leather face mask that you can wear while you're putting this stuff together.
Oh
No,
yeah.
it,
mask came
yeah,
out,
it comes with a nice little vacuum form thing
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're Leatherface.
Yeah.
And a smock, a bloody smock.
I see the commercial. You are Leatherface. It's up to you. Our house is bare. Build a couch. How about this lamp?
Well, that is so Christmassy.
That's perfect.
And to bring it all home,
Yes.
if I could, our last episode, we had the amazing artist Shag on the
did.
show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we were pitching a bunch of ideas. And Sean, you had some great ones of things that we could do with Shag's artwork.
Style.
Types of action figures or things that we could do, pop-up books. We talked about a lot
Right,
of
because
different
he's
things.
lent his art to a lot of different types of merchandise.
And it seems like he's sort of, at times, had some difficulty in finding the right medium for certain things. Like, you talked about his action figures would have trouble because the legs are so skinny that they
Right,
had
right.
trouble standing. So I suddenly, like a voice from heaven hit me, and I thought,
Or hell.
or hell, yeah, heaven and hell. They got me from both directions, and I think this would be the perfect Shag thing, and he should run, and if not work with this company, do something on his own. But Shag color forms. Oh. Right?
Yes.
Perfect.
That is a brilliant idea.
And that way, and you could do like you could either have the characters, or maybe you could like make your own kind of characters
have the
with different
landscape, you have
heads.
the-
You have the
yeah.
landscape,
Yeah. Oh, that's
and you
a
could
great
make your
idea.
own little
That is
thing.
a great
Put the
idea.
little cat in the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes with James Bond. It comes with
Brilliant.
some monsters.
Genius.
It comes with the,
The
Rat
devil
Pack.
guy.
And lots
Yeah.
of martinis and tiki
Yeah.
drinks.
Yes. all over the
yes.
place.
And cocktails.
Cocktails.
That's a great idea.
Godzilla in the background.
Yeah.
Matt, I love that idea.
I think that would be
fantastic.
really. I would just lend itself. And what would be great is if you could get, because usually the color forms would come with one background, and you had a bunch of different parts for Spider-Man or whoever you were working with.
I
But it'd be
just
nice
wanna
if you had a couple different backgrounds that you could play with.
And-
Like
and
like the
pa-
like the
yeah.
rub-offs.
yeah.
Yes,
oh,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
robots.
But you did the
Yeah.
packaging in the old style, kind of 60s, 70s.
Absolutely
style
right. Do
too.
it like a color forms box. I think that was just such a natural.
It is. That's good.
And there you go.
Brilliance.
How do you like that? And the offers just keep rolling in.
Well, we could go on and on and
yeah.
on. And
This has been fun.
this has been great.
Yeah.
This was the perfect length.
Hey, David, I want to thank you so much for being with us on our
Yes.
Christmas
Yes.
episode.
You were
thank
like
you.
our Santa Claus
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
And it's what's great is you're you know toys. You know, you're a passionate toy guy.
You're
I just
one of
love-
us.
Yeah, you
You
are.
are.
Thank
Fellow
you.
monster kid.
You fit right in.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here, and I appreciate. It's a badge of honor to be asked back. So obviously, I didn't offend too much last time.
Not at all.
No. We
offend,
kind
but
of
we
like it
bring
when
you
we
back.
offend. Yeah.
So again, you know, for our listeners, if they wanted to check out your,
It came from.
it came,
Yeah, it came from blog.com, and on all social media platforms, you can go to It Came From Blog on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and lots of retro, vintage stuff. I do new stuff as well, but it's sci-fi, fantasy, horror. If you liked Famous Monsters, if you like what I did with that, a lot
We
of the,
did.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, thanks. So, a lot of the people I spoke with, and a lot of the personalities I interacted with, and a lot of the movies that I loved and TV show and just sort of pop culture, ephemera, all that stuff finds its way onto It Came From Blog.
It's our world.
I mean, we love you for so many reasons. But when we went to Comic-Con and you presented us with that Famous Monsters issue where
That's
we
right.
were featured
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, Monster Party was featured in there. Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that was so
It was
awesome.
like being 7 years old again
Well-
Yeah.
and Christmas Day.
It was well deserved, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think you guys deserved it.
You're a
You
beautiful
guys
man.
are a wider audience. Definitely should know all about Monster Party.
Well, to
We're
be
working
a
on it.
fan of Monster Kid, to have grown up and been such a fan of Famous Monsters, and then to actually carry this love of monsters, all of us, on with our podcast,
Well, I mean,
and
look,
to be
we're all
recognized in
together.
Famous
Yeah,
Monsters was such an honor. I was so thrilled,
Yeah,
and,
it really
and thank
was.
you for that.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. My pleasure.
All right.
I knew somebody who could do that.
So you are spending the night, right?
Time for listener shout out. I think for this episode, Larry has a shout out.
Yeah, I
All
do.
right.
This is a little unorthodox
What?
because I'm doing this shout out here.
Crazy.
You know, it's Christmas and I'm in the
It's a Christmas
spirit.
miracle.
It is. I just want to give a shout out to a really wonderful guy and a really great friend to me and to Monster Party. He's a big time listener. A shout out to a good friend, Joe Johnson of Valencia, California. And there's a big reason why I want to give this shout out to Joe. Joe and his lovely wife and his kids, they've been so great to my wife and I and my family. He's been so wonderful. And he's a huge fan of pinball machines. Huge fan. He has a huge
yeah.
pinball collections. I've come over, I play with him. And Joe's just
Yeah.
been great with his time and stuff. And
And he fixes them up and restores them.
he
too,
does.
right?
He does. And the reason why I want to give this man a shout out is if you remember, listeners, we had the wonderful Walter Koenig on our show.
Yes.
Chekhov from Star Trek.
And
Matt
many other wonderful
yes,
things.
and he had never seen this Slee Stack that we had here, and he says, "Oh, I don't have that." And
Slee Stack
yes,
toy
yeah,
bank.
toy. So Matt and I, we actually brought the toy over to Walter's place.
Right.
And when we got there, it was great. Walter showed us his collection.
Just
he shows, yeah,
so
it was
gracious.
wonderful. It was wonderful.
Wife
but then
was wonderful.
lovely. They fed us. It was so
Yeah,
great. But
it was lovely.
he shows us the collection, and there's this beautiful classic Star Trek pinball machine. It's the one where it shows the transporter. Well,
Right,
it's like
right.
the one from
Yeah,
the 90s.
yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
is.
But it wasn't working. And I'm like, Walter, what's the deal? And he's like, oh, well, I've just never gone around to it. And then I realized, oh, my God, there's my friend Joe.
Hey.
Joe knows how to fix these. Well, Walter loved the idea, so I give Joe a call. Joe came over, and he did so much on this pit machine.
Yes, he
and
did.
It had some major problems. He brought in another friend. He
Awesome.
had to deal with it. Getting
took a
new
couple trips, right?
It did,
Yeah.
and he went out of his way because to him to put together Chekhov's pinball machine was like a great thing.
Right.
Well, I
So
wanted
he
to
like
see-
restored this.
he cleaned it. He fixed it. It's totally functional. Walter was thrilled because it got fixed for the holidays.
That's awesome.
And I just want to say thank you so much, Joe, for again through Monster Party.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
we
Bringing
helped
people
Walter.
together.
Monster Party is bettering the world.
Yes, yes. But Joe, thank you so much for everything
Yes,
you
thank
did.
you, Joe. Yeah.
And I just love you so much. And he's got this opportunity to work at a new place, a new TV company in Denver. So he might be doing like a long distance
All
thing
right.
here.
Wow.
So yeah, but I just want to say, Joe, thank you so much for what you did. And we are just thrilled.
Yeah.
Thank you for
You always
fixing
have a
everything.
home here.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Here at Monster Party. Thank you for being such a great fan and a great pinball guy.
Yeah, let's
Cool.
have a toast to Joe.
To Joe! Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you, buddy. I also want to give a shout out to our sponsors at Creature Features. Hey! Creature Creature Features, located at 2904 West Magnolia Boulevard in beautiful downtown Burbank. Taylor, Eric, and Matt, they have such a great place, and they have everything there for all your monster needs, whether it be CDs, DVDs, toys, models. They have artwork. They have these beautiful art shows. You got to check out their website, which lists all the functions and activities that they do every month. It's such a great
let's
place.
not forget just the people that you meet when you go there.
Oh yeah.
They're just great
fellow
guys.
monster kids,
Yeah.
people in the industry that you rub shoulders with. It really is a magical place.
It is. They also have like an eBay store. Their ID is C Features, and they list a whole bunch of stuff. So check them out on eBay as well. I also want to give a special shout out to Time Tunnel Toys.
Time Tunnel Toys.
Time Tunnel Toys, located at 1583 Meridian Avenue in beautiful downtown San Jose. Joe and Sharon, their place has just filled with vintage toys, kitschy stuff, black velvet paintings, records, comic books, all kinds of vintage toys. It's such a great store in a place that's surrounded by high tech. It's amazing. Cool. And just about every 4 months they organize. It's like called the Super Toy Collector Show in downtown San Jose. Go to their website. It gives you all the information. They actually have guests. They have great guests. They had Sam Jones from Flash Gordon there at one of the last conventions. So
maybe they have a toy there that was a wish list toy that you didn't know existed.
Maybe.
You never know.
Maybe.
That unrusted Nautilus. Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe.
That kid got very sick right when he got the toy. Rushed to the hospital. Never made it back.
Oh.
But the toy, perfect shape. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And on that note, let's remind our listeners that you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. By the way, all the Monster Party podcasts are now streaming on YouTube, so you can check them out there.
YouTube!
But don't forget to check out our earliest YouTube posts that include some unique episodes made specifically for YouTube.
Yeah, those are interesting.
The Comic-Con one is great. The
It
Japan
is,
one
yes.
is great.
These are ones where they're actually on camera.
Yes.
So it's our podcast, but
Yeah.
it's like we're in a sweaty room.
Yeah,
It's a hot
the
room,
sweat
all
sessions
sweaty
is what I
and
like to call them.
Cramped and
Well,
talking.
I will say this. I mean, we did. James did a nice job of shortening a lot of things. There's like little 3-minute, 4-minute clips, right?
Sure,
There's
sure.
also which
Snippets.
Yeah,
snippets,
it's
which
like
are
the
good.
early days of Monster
Yeah,
Party.
it's like the birth
Yeah.
of Monster Party.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I can't remember losing that much water weight during
They're like in
day period.
kinescope, but they're interesting.
Archival. Also on Instagram, we're at Monster Party HQ, and Twitter at Monster Party HQ. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please take a moment and write a review. We would love to hear from you. Also, the Monster Party cap is available for purchase on our eBay
Oh my God,
store.
it isn't.
Get
It's
it for
back
a
in-
Christmas gift.
Back in stock.
Makes a great New Year's gift.
The cap is back in stock, so no need to panic anymore.
Wait! It's back in stock. Just in
Everybody
time for
off the
next
shelf.
year's Christmas.
Everybody, settle down.
You want to plan
We
ahead.
have 3 more.
You want to plan ahead because you'll never know when they sell out.
No, it's true, and
Because we never know.
No, and it's a high quality cap. This is not a cheap hat by any means.
You
No,
know, we
I
gave
think
one-
we've been very clear about that.
Well, I just want to make sure people know. I mean,
on
it's
our last episode, we gave one to Shag, and he's an aesthetic guy. And
Yeah,
was very
he appreciates
impressed,
it.
He knows good
he knows,
caps.
He knows
Mr.
quality.
He's Mr.
Yes, he
Hip.
does.
Come on,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, and
Indeed.
he seemed to be very, very pleased with it.
Yes.
On that note, I am jolly old Saint Matt.
I'm Sean Kringle.
I'm Father Larry Christmas.
And I'm Frosty the Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Pay a visit to the island of Wishlist Toys. And happy holidays.
Happy holidays! Happy horror holidays!
Happy horror days.
Happy holidays!
Wow, that took a turn.
While I'm here discussing stuff with you, I've got something close by so I can argue or say what I need to say, take a swig, and keep going. And that spittle, my friend, maybe when I do it, it's okay because at least I'm clear, I'm succinct,
Okay, whoa.
people can
Let's
understand.
back up a little bit. Succinct.
Well,
because
Okay,
Yes.
that's just my mind. I'm just
That's your mind.
My mind is just. It's like
the
there's
sound
so
of
much.
your
His
mind.
explanation
There's so
was
much
succinct in
voice.
your mind as well. I
You know, no, just really quickly, I'm really embarrassed because on the last show, when I listened to it, I got so excited and so animated about wanting to say something, and then I jumped off on another tangent just to add another little fact, and then I forgot I didn't complete the whole thing, and
And it was completely unnoticeable.
I noticed it. And so I'm gonna try to work hard on that.
Larry,
kind of like completing
Yes.
a thought about Uncle Gilbert, right? And
Oh.
no, he couldn't let that go.
third creature
No way.
from the Black
He couldn't
Lagoon
let that go.
movie.
You know
I
what?
didn't get to finish that point.
You know what? I
At
wasn't.
least in that show.
I wasn't going to
I
bring
had to
that
go
up.
to Comic-Con.
I
you know
wasn't.
what?
I wasn't going to bring that up.
But you know
But
what?
now
though?
that you brought it up, I'm so glad that you did.
I think you know what? I'm going to back up my boy Larry here on that
what
one.
was the argument? though? I can't
because
remember right
because
now.
you were
you don't remember?
I
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
here. I'm
specific
backing him up,
conflict.
and he's cutting me off. Unbelievable.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No. You can defend yourself. Go ahead.
Please continue.
Let your mind speak.
I want you to continue.
So the story was
No. I love you, but he has the floor.
All I was saying is that Larry did correct you on something that was, if someone who was uninitiated in Creature from the Black Lagoon, he might have been confused by what you were remembering,
Was what?
which was that he was
a
remembering.
fedora on the creature.
And
you
he thought it was. He thought it was in The Creature Walks Among Us. He goes, "Oh yeah," and the fedora was.
He
on
had a
Creature Walks-
fedora.
and I'm like, I'm looking at him like he's a moron. And I'm like, and you're Mr. Entertainment tonight.
That's what he was going through your mind.
No,
That's what was going through his mind. And he's a moron.
He's the freaking editor of Famous Monsters magazine. How can you make that mistake?
Maybe he just slipped his. Look, he was just thinking he had that on his mind. He said that movie instead of the Monsters.
Yeah, and I don't understand how you can forget that.
It's not like he said he wore a fedora in Revenge of the Creature. That would have been totally off base.
no, he wore a
But-
fez in.
Yeah, look,
But here's the thing.
Larry, there are lots of important things to remember, and we can't remember them
Yes.
all.
I know,
Right,
and,
right.
and
The
what-
Holocaust.
And I just
That's a
wanna-
good one to
No,
remember.
okay, let's not go there.
They
But
weren't wearing
I do want to
fedoras.
say, I do want to say to David that I apologize for jumping on you, and I guess it's not like, hey, you're my next door neighbor who doesn't know anything, and you said, hey, I saw a creature in the fedora. It's because I just thought you had this wealth of monster knowledge, and it was
He does.
My
yeah,
entire wealth became nothing.
No. You have loads.
know
no,
nothing.
no,
Wow.
that is not
It's amazing
true.
that your words are like a shrinking ray. It like makes people go pew in their chairs.
You know, I just wanted to let you know
My
that
wealth
I
of knowledge
feel.
was pivotal with that moment, and it teetered.
Now, I would
to
argue-
non-existent.
I would argue that Uncle Gilbert actually is more the creature walking among us than the creature. Because the creature in The Creature Walks Among Us doesn't actually walk among us.
He doesn't talk.
He walks in a cage.
Yeah, that's you're right.
And you
That's-
could say, if you want to get, psychological, if you want to get philosophical, yes, we all build our own cage, sure, and then we walk in it.
I mean,
but
I'm-
I don't think that's what the film was trying to say.
No, but this whole thing is like jumping on Uncle Gilbert, and I just want to say I apologize. I know that you know a hell of a lot about monsters. You are Mr. Monster, and
That's
yes,
not true.
no,
You're just
no,
saying that.
no. You know tons of stuff that I don't know.
Yeah, give him one. Right now, go,
Drawing
go.
a complete blank. Wait, I know. Oh no.
See, no, I know you. Come on, but we're friends. We're buddies.
Throw him a human
Hey.
centipede question.
I like to bring it up because I think it's funny. That's it.
Okay, it is.
It is pretty.
It is funny. We enjoy you, Larry. That's really
Well,
at the bottom of all this.
I mean, the last thing I want to do is like to make David think that, oh man, I got to deal with this shit again.
Well,
you did just admit that you thought he was an idiot. So there is.
I think the word was moron.
Moron.
Okay,
I'm sorry. That's a little better, right? On the
I'd rather be a
mentally
moron
challenged.
But
Yeah.
in fairness,
And a less on.
But
So-
guys, in fairness, it's not like I think he is a moron. No, at that
You
moment,
knew he was a moron
No, at that
point.
no, at that moment. I thought, oh my gosh, I thought this guy had incredible knowledge, and so it was a split second, and I get
For a
it.
Kinda
split
like that
second,
point
you thought he was a moron.
But it
When your
passed.
parents are no longer gods because they've disappointed you. That's kind of what happened.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but
You can
since
never quite recover.
But
from
David,
no, but since
I still think you're a
they
god.
are human.
But since then, I've learned more about you, and
Wow.
I'm impressed. And
Are you internet stalking him? What the hell?
no. It's just we've chatted. You know,
Yeah, I've
we
looked
hung
up your
out,
priors.
and no, he's wow.
Somehow I regained some street cred.
How did you ever date? I'm just curious. Like, how did you ever?
Because he's full of passion.
Well, there is that. Yeah, you just like you.
The ladies like the passion.
They do. They
All right,
do.
Who's ready to go? I'm ready to
Yeah.
go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I think we've just changed the subject.
no.
Yeah.
The topic is Larry's passion,
How?
A through Z. I have a quick question. I hate to cut you guys off, but we got to get to this. So
I'm sorry.
What is the title? We have a couple ideas
yes,
for the
yes.
title,
I liked your first one, but
which was
Toys we wish existed.
yeah,
okay.
That one, but Matt came up with one.
toys we wish existed.
Now, on the other, I was
Dream-
trying to think of something snappy, short. Dream toys. That's the other one, and then we also the island of what was it?
Wish list toys.
That's it. The island of
I like
wish
that.
list
Oh, I
toys.
like
Especially because
that.
we're a Christmas themed.
Island of wish
and that
list
could
toys.
Be, and that could be. I can talk about what I wished for and never got.
This is going to be posted on Christmas Day.
It is
So
Christmas
this is special.
Day.
Post on Christmas Day. Na, na, na.
I hope you like the Christmas stuff.
I love it. I'm slightly creeped out, but it's good.
Yeah, well, our Christmas tingler.
You know
we
what?
brought that out.
Yeah.
You know what? I love this Santa, but my wife doesn't like it.
Because it follows her around the house.
Yeah, no, it's totally pervy.
Did you ever see?
He's not pervy.
Yes, it is. It's a creepy. Santa Claus is a creepy old man.
He is not.
Yes, he is.
What kind of Santas were you hanging out
He's
with?
a refugee from the doll people.
ones at the
He's
mall?
got a needle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's a bell. And he,
That's
By
what
the
he
way,
calls it.
Should my volume be loud, yell?
That's
Because
a good
I feel
volume.
compelled. I mean, I can talk like this, and I
Here's
can
the deal.
project, but I feel compelled to yell over the din at times.
Sometimes
Yeah,
yell,
yes.
but just
I don't wanna-
normally keep it close.
Yeah, like right here. And this
right
is good,
here.
right?
Oh, like
Yeah,
kissy,
We all sound good.
Yeah.
right?
kissy. Okay,
But
You
if
know-
you're going to yell, maybe then back off.
Okay,
if
so-
you are going to maintain that
all right,
distance.
Cool.
you know, he comes with a Santa sack, by the way.
Of course he does.
You know, it's like
Don't
has
they
toys-
all?
He's not neutered.
No, you know, like a sack of toys.
Yeah,
I just
let's
have
go,
it. I
let's
just
go.
didn't know. What
I never liked.
I want to
go into the mall
for
and
a
get in
moment. I want to just dive into the mind of Larry.
No, you don't want to go there.
No, you don't.
When
you really
when
don't.
everyone makes jokes at the expense of whatever we're talking about for laughter and amusement, do you truly get perturbed and offended, or do you see the humor even if you're trying to keep
It's
it?
way too close to it.
I do. I get really pushed out of shape, and then I say, "What the fuck am I doing here?" You know. But then James is always there to kind of bring me back. He's always
Yeah.
he's usually kind of
It's
gentle.
James.
It's always kind of
Yeah, we're over here, just putting salt in the wounds.
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much. I mean,
So
Sean's only been doing it
this
recently.
is not a persona. This is genuine. When you
Oh,
get
this
it.
is
Yeah,
real.
This is real.
No, this is real.
That's the one
Yeah.
thing about Monster Party is that we are.
This is who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For better or
Well,
worse.
you
no
know,
way to prepare
hey,
for
we
this.
can, you know, we can behave ourselves at parties and stuff and events. You know, it's some.
Well, the host of those parties will be the judge of that.
Okay.
All right, shall we do this? Let's go.
So Island of Wish List.
The
toys?
Island of wish list toys.
I like it.
We'll have to explain what that is.
Are we going?
We will.
Is this open forum? Or are we going around the table? Do we?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
It kind of be open form, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we should
I
let
think
David go first.
David has to go first. I think it's like open.
Okay.
yeah.
What would you like to do?
I don't care.
Well, you're going to say something.
Ideally.
And these are toys that, because I have some that are just dream toys I wish were made, and also ones were like, there were toy lines that didn't quite complete.
Right.
You know,
It all works. It's all.
Yeah, okay.
It's all good.
I think. How about the toy you never got?
Well, if there was a toy line that you wished happened, then you never got that toy.
Yeah, not for the most
We
part,
can't just
they should
start
not be-
listing-
yeah, there should not be toys that existed at all. They're toys that
Toys we wish existed.
All right.
Perhaps
Not
towards
toys
the
that we
end,
wish existed in your garage.
Perhaps towards the end, we could do a bonus round of the ones that we wanted that existed that we never got.
I love it.
And a single tear will go down your.
I'm crying already.
All right. Let's start it.
Let's go. Keep talking, James.
It's a listener shout out.
Now, that's good, but I have no idea. That's not helping, but I enjoyed it.
Do you want to try a different microphone?
No, just do that.
Let's do like
Great.
Happy holidays, everybody, at the end, right?
Okay, how do you want to do that? On that, on that note,
find
or
go to your own island of wishlist toys or something like that, or
What if we did this?
Happy
What if we
holidays from the
on that
island.
note, I'm at my own blah, 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 blah. And then we go, keep America strong. Get our, we'll do our thing, which is get that toy that you want made or whatever, something along the lines. But at the end, we go, and happy holidays, everybody. Happy holidays. And we do kind of like what we do
Sure.
in the beginning credits. And
Okay.
it's just nice and festive.
all right, great. I like it.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I love it.
James, why do you hate it? It's just people being real.
You just saw the forced smile on my face, and you saw right
Yeah,
through it.
I
didn't
know,
you?
I do. Okay.
All right.
So what is,
But what are we going to say?
here's
Pay a visit
here's
to the island of Wishlist Toys.
Oh,
Go.
yeah.
there we go.
genius.
All right. Yes, thank you.
I'm not being.
No, I'm a
I think that
When you say that, I am always honored. I am always honored.
I'm in awe of you, both of you guys.
It's a mutual awe fest.
No, there's nothing to be awe with me.
Larry.
No.
You're the heart and soul.
No, I'm not the heart and soul.
You're
Yeah.
the passion
Yes.
of the show.
The
You are.
anger.
Well,
Anger is
but that's passion. Yeah. Better you get it out here than
That
on
is-
the freeway.
And you know what's funny? I purposely do not get angry on the freeway. I am not one
wise.
of those people. I
No.
am.
No,
totally
I've seen you
I
drive.
am.
Yeah.
You're very controlled when
I
you
am.
drive.
I am.
You're a very good driver.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm
you're-
more of a defensive driver. I'm not offensive.
No,
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't say that. There was that time when we were leaving James's place, and we were dropping him off. I think
After Comic-Con.
After Comic-Con,
Yeah.
And it was his neighborhood is like
Very
crowded,
Yeah, very hard to-
you know. And it's would that be called Venice? Is that
right,
Venice?
that's
That is Venice. Okay. And so we're Venice
Lots
is
of one-way streets.
one-way streets, people everywhere, and you got us out of there in like 2.5 minutes. Like you were like, so that's not defensive. That's,
That's
and I was very impressed. I was like, because I would have been there till midnight. I would have been
Sunday-
like, excuse me.
In July on a Sunday afternoon, Venice is the most crowded neighborhood in Los Angeles.
Sunday
That's so
afternoon.
somebody-
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, 'cause,
yeah. And on weekends, I don't even leave home sometimes in the summer because it's just you can't even get out of your neighborhood. Ugh. All right.
So
yeah.
never ever underestimate your driving,
All right, buddy. Thank you.
or underestimate, whatever you want to do.
Underestimate.
Appreciate it.
Wow, it's got sad all of a sudden.
No, I thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to make it even more awkward. Let's keep this beat going.
Don't we have something we have to do here?
Yes, we do. We
yes,
have to end the show. Okay. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Pay a visit to the island of Wishlist Toys. And happy holidays, monster partiers!
Hey.
We need to do that again?
Sorry. Yeah, I thought we were
doing-
all going
are
to
we
kind of
doing
do it
it in
together.
unison, or-
Maniacal- no, I think he says it and we just maniacally laugh, right?
Do you want me to just say, and happy holidays? Woo-hoo? You want to just do that?
I
instead?
kind of wanted to say happy holidays too.
Happy
And
holidays.
Hank-
I thought we were-
from Monster Party.
I thought we would go, I would say happy holidays, and you'd go happy holidays. Happy
Okay,
holidays,
okay,
with, like,
okay,
a
okay,
cacophony,
okay.
and then we go off into laughter.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Do you mind if I do it from the?
No.
To feel it, I need
No,
to
I'm
go
with you.
from
I'm
the
with
very
you. I'm with
beginning.
you. I'm with you.
Sean knows my method, so.
Am I arguing with you?
No.
I'm agreeing with you.
No, you're being very, very
we should do our
accommodating.
names again, though, like Jolly or something. Like say something like that too for each of our names.
Do you want?
Do
I
something
think that might be
different.
fun.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do.
I'm a jolly old Saint Matt Weinhold.
You're
Something like
jolly. What are you?
I'm gonna be Sean Kringle Sheridan.
I like it.
I'm Frosty the Gonis.
Frosty the Bonus. Okay, that's good.
Winter Warlock.
No, I need something. I need something. Help me out here. Help me out here. Abominable.
Abominable. Larry Abominable.
No.
Yukon Stroth.
No.
No, wait a minute.
Rudolph.
Larry the
Larry
red-faced
Miser.
reindeer.
Larry Miser. The Larry Miser.
Meisner?
Miser.
No,
like
I don't.
Eat Miser.
Oh.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm just gonna say festive.
No.
No.
Has to be something with a character or something.
I don't want to be Grinch.
Father Larry Christmas.
Oh, I like that.
You
I like that. I like that very much. Thank you.
So I'll just say
I can't think now.
Should we all just do then our first names because everybody knows what our names are? We could just go. I'm jolly old Saint Matt.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
Sean
good.
Kringle.
Sean Kringle.
I'm gonna say I'm Father Larry Christmas.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I like it. And then
Okay,
you're
good.
Frosty the Gonus.
Okay, good.
Frosty the Gonus. That's a perfect way to
It
end
is,
it too.
it
I
is.
like it. That's good.
Are you gonna say it like that? I'm Frosty the Gonus.
You have to do it the way that you don't direct him. You'll ruin it.
sorry.
You'll ruin it.
You do it how you want to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
All right. On that note, I am what the fuck am I?
I think you're a jolly old Saint Matt.
Thank you.
It's the eggnog.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, Demon Christmas.
Eggnog.
Demon eggnog. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Here we go.
On that note,
Sorry. I'm sorry. No, he wasn't lying. He was.
No, I was
he
gonna do
needed,
it this
he needed
time.
a moment. He needed a moment. Here we go. Let's give Matt a moment. Here we go.
hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay.